Hello, everyone. Welcome to the regular City Council meeting. Today is Thursday, December 6th. It is 6 p.m. And at this point, we want to welcome Pastor Buck Gilbus from North Point Church. He'll be leading our invocation. So now I ask him to come to the podium. Following the invocation, please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by Cub Scout Pack 316 and the pledges. Thank you.
Let's pray. Father, thank you for today. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your goodness. God, I'm just privileged to be here and to have the opportunity just to pray for the men and women who are leading and making decisions in our city. And Father, I just pray that you give them wisdom. I pray that you give them clarity of thought. And I pray that you give them courage. And just thank you again for their service. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas flag?
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You did a great job. Thank you. All right, at this time, if we could get our secretary to do the roll call, please.
Councilmember Andrea Navarrete.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Michelle Stevenson.
Here.
Councilmember Shannon Shepherd.
Here.
Councilmember Christine Satterquist.
Here.
Councilmember Jeff Seiler.
Here.
Councilmember Marcy Cannon.
Here.
Mayor Tory Hill.
Here. We do have a quorum. We can do business. So at this time, we're going to move to item 3, which is citizens' comments. When I call your name, please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes. We have Ms. Karen Thompson.
I'd like to note it's such a pleasure to have you back with us, Ms. Thompson.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Address 11327 Hero Way West, Leander 78641. And I'll be assisted by my daughter, Kathy Howell. Let's see if the slides that are up, the far right, which is my other left, the far right, 1923 Christmas card. This was from one of the postmen that he left at everyone on his route as a Christmas gift at the 1st of December. He got those cards, and so they'd have a calendar. It went for the whole year, and the postman, that was a card that he left for everybody. The one on the left, on the bottom, is Christmas 1949 at Scarborough's. And the reason I'm showing you this is we had a famous Santa Claus, and his name was Fred Rowland. And this is him as Santa Claus at Scarborough's. And he was from Leander, but you never know the Santa Claus's names. I mean, they're just Santa Claus, and you never know if you children that are here and the young ones, it's these Santa Claus that are helpers. And so at Scarborough's, this is how funny things happen. I was from Austin, had never been to Leander. I was 5 years old. That's me on the left.
Oh, my
I went up and had my picture taken, Christmas of 49. My future husband, David Thompson from Leander, also age 5, went to the Scarboroughs and had his Christmas picture taken. When we got married, I was looking at his mother and dad's and looking through pictures, and I said, I swear this Santa's familiar. So I go dig out mine, and sure enough, and the numbers on the back were almost identical. So our paths would have crossed when we were 5 years old. But I moved up here to go to high school, 8th grade, and came up here, lived on the lake, and we got married, and we were married for almost 50 years. The other is, I'm not going to give their name because I didn't get permission today. And I don't see them here, and they come a lot of times. Y'all might recognize the family, and that's the same Santa, Fred Rowland. How much time do we have? 13 seconds. Fred Rowland, and then this is the 1950s. I want her to read the epitaph Fred Rowland has on his grave. Never mind.
Thank you. He was Santa. Okay. He was Santa at Scarborough's for over 20 years. So there were lots of Austin area
Go ahead and read it.
children. I want not but to do my part, to lift a tired or weary heart, to change folks' frowns to smiles again, then I will not have lived in vain. And that's what he has on his tombstone.
That's
Wow,
nice.
that's awesome.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
ladies.
sharing.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. All right, at this time, we're going to move to recognitions. Tonight, we want to recognize the Leander High School Band for their accomplishments of receiving Bands of America Class AAA Championship and 5th in the state. We have Robert, who's the band director, and Chris Simpson, the principal from Leander High School, as well as some of the band members.
Woo-hoo.
He wanted me to explain exactly what Bands of America is. It's a national competition that these awesome students here have been competing in for the last many, many, many years. This past year, we were recognized as 6th place there and ranked at one point as 5th in the country, which is a really cool thing for our program, and recently received the UIL Class 6A 5th place in the state marching contest. These students here, these are our drum majors of our band program. This is Allie Melanson, Lauren Presley, Ethan Nance, and Gabe Satelli. 2 of them are about to graduate and leave us, and 2 of them are staying and coming back for another year. But super proud of these kids, and we appreciate you guys recognizing us. Thank you.
Just want to add on, you have grown that program, Mr. Sladen, into just a fantastic, beautiful, beautiful thing for the community. So thanks for all that you do with those children.
This seems to be my annual reminder that I was a Leander Band alum, and I just want y'all to know that y'all have a bunch of alumni that's really proud of y'all, and really proud to see how hard y'all work.
Absolutely.
And just to piggyback on that, today is Mr. Seiler's birthday. So if you'll join me in wishing him a happy birthday.
We'd like to all be musical here and sing a little happy birthday song to Mr. Seiler.
And by we, you mean you.
All right, everybody.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jeffrey. Happy birthday to you.
Thank y'all.
I bet you wish the drums were playing during that. Thank you very much to the band, and happy birthday, Mr. Seiler.
Thank you, sir.
There it is.
Oh. Yeah. The polar bear plunge is coming up again. I know other council members are going to do it for me this year.
Well, happy birthday. I hope it's a good one.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we're going to move to item 5, which is staff reports. Mr. Cagle.
Yes, sir, Mayor and Council. Just to give you an update on our single-family housing permits. It's a real busy chart, but as you can see, we go back 5 years for every month. And the latest month of November that is just in the books, we did 89, or actually 91 when you include the permits in the ETJ. So you add those two up year to date, and we are at 1,500, just 11 shy of where we were this time last year. And if you go back to the early months, we're making up a little bit for the Harvey slowdown that happened. But it'll be close when December's in the books, because last December was a very strong December, whether we finished just a little ahead or just a little behind of last year's total of it was over 1,600 when you add in December. So not the strongest month that we've ever had, but still a very good month, and we expect December to be pretty close to last year.
Will the numbers in the city limits outpace? It's hard to see over. Are they going to outpace what's in the ETJ?
Always, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the ETJ. So far this year, year to date, we've done 72 in the ETJ, and then 1,428 inside the city limits. But those numbers in the ETJ will grow with Wiedemeyer MUD coming in. They'll start issuing permits pretty soon as well. And there are 3 MUDs in the ETJ, but there's only 2 of them that we'll be doing building inspections on, because Rancho Siena was formed before it was in the city's ETJ. So we're not performing building inspections there, but we will in Wiedemeyer and what's the other? Nope. Those are not MUDs. The other MUD on 29, Lively. Yes, the Lively track.
Who does them at Rancho Siena? Is that Georgetown?
No, nobody. That's just no different than a subdivision out in the county.
Okay.
Interesting. And if there's not any other questions, that's my report tonight.
Okay. Thank you very much. And for the Parks Department, Mr. Tummins.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Pleasure to be with you this evening and share a few of the upcoming events that we have on schedule for you and all of our citizens of Leander. December 8th, Christmas carols, sing-along, and s'mores at Robin Bledsoe Park. We begin at 6 o'clock, so see everyone out there. On December 14th, it's Friday night, Griswold Family Christmas. We're showing the Christmas Vacation movie with treats at the Old Town Christmas stage at the Old Town Christmas stage right behind our City Hall. And then December 15th, we wanted to share with you our first ever Leander Youth Recreation Basketball League kicks off. So we'll start practice on December 15th. Games begin in January. Very exciting there. Our library also is hosting a holiday card-making lab from 1 to 7 p.m. on December 17th. December 22nd, we have PJs and Pancakes back for the second year. Very popular. It's basically sold out. We've got a few slots on the morning session, the early morning session, which goes from about 8 to 9:30, and that's going to be at the Leander Public Library. Last year it was at Mason Homestead, but because of the response, we end up moving it to the library conference room. January 1st, Councilman Seiler can share with you more about the Polar Bear Plunge, but we're back again, and it's going to be a lot of fun, so we'd like to see everyone come out on January 1st for our Polar Bear Plunge. And then, of course, our Little League Baseball registration is continuing on through the middle of January. And I'd like to ad-lib also that we just got word from Ms. Brandt with the Chamber of Commerce. She estimated about 12,000 people attended Old Town Festival and Christmas Festival and Parade this past weekend. So that's my report.
That was
Thank you.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Is that a record?
I don't know. I'd have to ask her.
I would think.
I would think.
I would
it.
say
It
it
looked
was-
like it.
It was more than my
It's
two
more than
years.
I've ever seen. There. So.
It's bigger and
Yes.
bigger every year.
You did a wonderful job. That
Yes,
was great.
absolutely. It was first class.
Special thanks to all your staff. Y'all did a phenomenal job.
I'll tell them.
Such
Thank
a
you.
beautiful event.
Thank you, Mr. Tummins. Appreciate it. All right, Council, now let's go to our consent agenda. This is an action item.
A motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Navarrete with a second by Councilmember Shepherd. Thank you, Cub Scouts. All in favor? All right, passes unanimously. We move to item 11. Conduct a public hearing regarding Subdivision Case 18-CP-003 to adopt the Simpson Tract Concept Plan on one parcel of land, approximately 69.1 acres in size, more particularly described by Williamson Central Appraisal District Parcel R031573, generally located to the southwest of the intersection of County Road 175 and Journey Parkway. Leander, Williamson County, Texas. Ms. Griffin.
This is a public hearing for the property located to the southwest of the intersection of Journey Parkway and County Road 175. This is the first step in the subdivision process, and the zoning of this property was approved by the City Council in August of this year. The proposal includes 227 residential homes and 8.5 acres of parkland. The Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of the concept plan at their November 29th meeting, and the applicant is here if you have any questions, and I can also answer questions after the public hearing.
Thank you. The public hearing is still open. Anyone wishing to speak can come forward when your name is called and state your name and address for the record. You have 3 minutes. As a friendly reminder, this is a public hearing, and any discussion will take place following the close of the public hearing. The council can request a speaker to return to the podium if they should have any questions. Would anybody like to speak on this item? All right, last time. Anybody like to speak on this item? All right, so we're going to close the public hearing, and we're going to move to discuss and consider action regarding Subdivision Case 18-CP-003 to adopt a Simpson Tract Concept Plan.
Make a motion to approve. I second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Cannon with a second by our Pro Tem Stevenson. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimously. All right, item 12, conduct a public hearing regarding zoning case 18-TOD-Z-019, subdivision case 18-TOD-CP-011, and subdivision case 18-TOD-PP-015 to amend the PUD-TOD, which is Plan Unit Development, Transit-Oriented Development, to establish the base zoning district of GC-4-A, General Commercial with modifications, and to approve the PAG Leander Concept Plan and Preliminary Plat on one parcel of land, approximately 37.25 acres in size, more particularly described by Williamson Central Appraisal District Parcel R461858, generally located to the northeast of the intersection of 183A Toll Road and Hero Way, Leander, Williamson County, Texas. If you could just restate that all for me.
Yes. This is a public hearing for the property located to the northeast of the intersection of 183A and Hero Way. The applicant is proposing to amend the TOD to create the PAG Leander PUD. This request will include a PUD that has a conceptual site layout and land use plan that is also considered a concept plan and a preliminary plat, all in one item. Since this property is located within the conventional development sector of the TOD, this is the next step in the process to establish their base zoning district. Their proposed base zoning district is GC4A, General Commercial, and it'll apply to the entire property. The purpose of the request is to allow for commercial uses that will include an automobile dealership. One of the waivers to the ordinance includes allowing used car sales as an accessory use, and this change would apply to the entire property. This would also allow for automotive repair on the entire property. The majority of the waivers requested by the planned unit development will apply to the center lot, and that's this piece right here. And you can see they've provided a conceptual site layout plan to show the building orientation. The waivers include changing the landscaping requirements. So right now our ordinance requires street trees along 183A, and they're proposing to remove those street trees, but they're still meeting all of the requirements of the ordinance with regards to the amount of landscaping. And they're also going to treat this area as a street. So it'll have street trees along the drive, so it'll have a similar effect. and they'll still meet the overall landscaping requirements. They're also clarifying the ordinance to make it clear that the storage area for the cars are not traditional parking spaces, so they won't have the same requirement of a tree within 50 feet of every parking space. They also are proposing to identify the adjacent properties as non-residential uses. So the way our ordinance works is if you have a commercial use that's adjacent to residential, you have added standards such as added setbacks and screening walls. So they're proposing to identify this property along here and down here as non-residential. They're currently used non-residentially or they're undeveloped right now. They are also proposing overhead service doors that will face 183A, and you can see those adjacent to the building. Let me just find it. Oh, there's one right there. You see those three bays right there? That would be the queue space, and the service doors are kind of set back. Our ordinance currently wouldn't allow that configuration, and you'd have to have screening, so they're providing that as part of their PUD. They're also proposing to remove reciprocal access between Lot 1, Block B, and Lot 2, Block B. So that would be the access between these two lots here. Both lots will still have access to this future right-of-way that's an extension of CR 269. They're proposing to eliminate the TIA requirement and the roadway adequacy fee requirement. They feel that they're addressing it through the extension of Auto Park Drive right here. And then they're going to dedicate the right-of-way. And all of these waivers are applying to this center lot. So the other two future lots will have to comply with the ordinance standards that are currently in place. They also included changes to the sign ordinance requirements. So they proposed 3 pylon signs with their initial submittal that would have 2 signs along 183A and 1 on 269. The commission did request that one of the pylon signs along 269 was removed, and the applicant agreed to that request and actually sent out a letter amending it. They are proposing to change the height of the signs. Right now, our ordinance limits the height to 25 feet, and they're proposing 40-foot tall signs, and they're also proposing to increase the size of the signs. So the ordinance allows for a 70-square-foot sign for a single tenant and 150 square feet for a multi-tenant, and they're proposing a 150-square-foot sign area regardless of the number of tenants. They're also proposing changes to the flagpoles. Flagpoles are limited to 40 feet with a 24-square-foot flag, and they're proposing an 80-foot tall flagpole with a 375-square-foot flag. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at the meeting last week, and they recommended approval of the applicant's request with the condition that the proposed pylon sign on 269 was removed from the PUD, and the applicant did agree to the change. And they are available, or they would like to make a presentation today, and I'll be available for questions after the public hearing.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. Would anyone like to speak on this item? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. My name is Terry Bray. I'm a lawyer in Austin and have been working with the Penske Automotive Group on this project for a little over a year.
Terry, I did want to tell you, if you speak now, you get 3 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
versus,
you wanted to cut up.
You want to speak in a little while, then I can give you longer than that.
That would be fine, sir.
Okay, thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this item? All right, so now I'm going to close the public hearing. And you may come right back up, sir.
Thank you. We're back before you. We're delighted to be here. We will not repeat the details that we covered in our work session with you, but we have had a very active month or so continuing to work with staff. They have been most helpful in working through details. We did hear at that last meeting that EFS, I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, was not a construction technique or construction material that you were comfortable with, and your ordinance doesn't allow it. So we have modified our plans to delete what was previously shown as EFS. We also, in connection with our presentation at the Planning and Zoning Commission, discussed the signs, the flagpole, and did agree that we would modify the pylon sign on 269 so that it is a monument sign. And we also clarified there are only 2 pylon signs that are permitted on 183A, and have provided those details to staff and provided that also as an amendment to the application. We think the project is now ready for final approval. The P&C Commission recommended approval, as Robin mentioned, and that vote was unanimous. We also think that without getting into the details of the package that is the PowerPoint that you've seen before and that you also have now, that there are really very good economic and community reasons that we want to be part of you, and hopefully you want us to be part of you. So we're delighted to be here tonight. With me tonight are 2 of the Penske representatives who were at the work session, Jeff Anderson and Paul Boyabo, also our real estate consultant, Jim Bowles. So we can respond to any questions that you might have or elaborate on any details that you might wish us to provide more information. Thank you very much, Mayor.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, now we're going to move to discuss and consider action on the first reading of the ordinance regarding zoning case 18-TOD-Z-019, subdivision case 18-TOD-CP-011, and everything I read before. Council?
I have a question about the auto repair facility. I'm assuming that would involve damaged vehicles being parked on the property. Is there a plan to screen that? Is there going to be?
If we do, there is no immediate plan to do that. That is a possible future use of the second parcel. The site plan, as you notice, the south is the Honda dealership.
Yes, sir.
The internal road divides the property, and on the north side, we currently are very hopeful to find a second dealership. It is possible that we might have a collision center there that would be related to Honda and the Penske operations. But if we did, we would have to come back through your site plan process and comply with your ordinance for screening and otherwise.
Okay.
Well, I have a comment about that because considering that this is really our one good commercial corridor, I'm a little bit worried about having a facility there that is body shop, and that's its first and primary purpose. I know that this is being billed as a Honda dealership, and I'm worried about that. I want the primary purpose of this facility to be selling new cars. I know that used cars is accessory to that, but I'm thinking that instead of having that primary use in that other building north of that, the possible primary use be primarily auto body and maintenance. I would like to see it more as a secondary purpose, as an accessory use.
Yes, ma'am. Our hope is your hope as well. We want that to be a dealership. We would be grateful for the opportunity to have the flexibility that if we do not get another dealership in the near term, and if it makes sense to have a collision center, that we would be able to do that on a standalone basis on that site. The kinds of repairs, it's not going to be a junkyard with damaged vehicles publicly displayed and
But that's a
spread around
possibility
the
with the
site.
request, right?
A collision center would have to come back through your process. Your definition of collision center,
Ms. Griffin, can you speak to that, please, ma'am?
thank you.
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
So the GC use component does allow for the automotive repair, which would allow the collision center. So that would be allowed on the site without having to amend the PUD. And the other concern I think we would have is the changes to the screening requirements in the PUD. So on that center lot, The PUD is saying that the landscape plan that they provided would meet the requirements for screening, and that includes, I think, a 2-foot maximum landscape along 183A, and then it doesn't designate locations for outdoor storage, so I think it might be vague.
So if we moved forward as it's being presented, it could be an auto body repair center without any screening requirements. Is that correct?
It wouldn't be the same level. So it had a 2-foot tall landscaping along 183A. Our ordinance currently requires it to be screened from view.
So I think our obligation to the city is just to have the highest and best case use, for that location, because it is a prime location for the city, and I know it's a very expensive piece of property, so I know you as well would like the highest and best case use for the property. I think we're just very uncomfortable with.
Would it make sense for us to work on a screening plan if it were a collision center and present that before your next meeting?
Absolutely. I
And-
would feel much more comfortable
and
getting
include
behind
that
it
as part of the
because,
PUD.
because that is a very allowable use. We just want to make sure we cover all the bases.
So I think
And I
preliminary.
think we would want to do that anyway, so that this would be very consistent with your request. We could come up with a screening plan and show that between now and your next meeting.
And I think
No,
I don't mind that
no.
other building being a collision center, but as the plan as a whole, I want to make sure that primary objective is the new car sales, and the secondary would be collision center and used car. And so if we can
If we
clear
can do
up.
that now,
Yeah, we
I
can-
think we
you
can
don't have
Ms.
to bring it
Griffin,
back.
Ms. Griffin, can we write it into the PUD today that on the phase, the phase 3, that if they made that a collision center, that they would need to come in and work with staff to come up with adequate screening?
We could do it now.
Right, or you could make it to where it has to come back to the council if they wanted to add something like that.
I would
that what
propose
you're
that we
saying?
strike it from that zoning.
Yeah.
The way we've done it in the
And so make
past,
it-
it's been included as an option that, like we did with the mini storage, it said that they would have to bring back renderings to the council for review and approval before they could start.
on that
So would
phase.
we possibly just strike that as a possible use tonight? And if they did decide to do that, then they could bring
Would
it
be an
back to
amendment?
council as
That's-
he's talking
that's up to
about
y'all.
tonight?
I'm talking about, we're talking about primary use, as a primary use for that portion of it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bray, can I ask you a quick question? For the second phase, the building architecture is going to be similar, if not identical?
Yes, ma'am. It's your Class A architecture, so any construction of improvements would meet
Right.
your criteria architecturally.
So if we struck the ability for you to do a collision center there at all versus requiring you to come back for a screening center, screening versus, for anything other than new car sales, is that going to inhibit your ability to find another car dealership or move forward?
Well, it would be much preferable if we had the flexibility to use that potentially as a collision center and to come back with screening arrangements that would be subject to not only your review, but your ordinance.
So if we could do an amendment to the PUD that says any use other than new car sales, you have to come back before council for a screening approval.
Yes, ma'am, we can do something of that sort, and I can work with Robin on appropriate language to share
That way
before
we're
your
not
next
taking
meeting.
more of your time.
I would be much more comfortable with that. I'm fine talking about screening requirements, but I don't want to get to the point that we're telling business owners what they can and
Right.
cannot do with their business. Additionally, we don't make as a city any sort of money on the new car sales, but we will be making an income off of services. So I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot if we're prohibiting y'all from doing that. So I'm definitely in favor of
Yes.
screening.
And the high-paying
Yeah,
jobs
I'm not saying
for
that we
service.
shouldn't do it. I just don't want that to be the primary
Yeah.
use of the project in general.
You don't have, correct me if I'm wrong, but, the availability for someone to be driving along the road and see a collision center isn't quite as imperative as it is for a new car sale, correct? So
Yes.
you might not care as much if it has the landscape or screening along 183A like you would in front of the new car sales, obviously.
Well, and I think it would add
Well, and-
a better aesthetic to the new car sales center if you didn't have that visual when you pull in.
And that's why we would be comfortable bringing that screening plan
Okay.
to you because it's in our best interest as well as in the city's interest to be sure that's done properly and appropriately.
Okay.
But if you like want a big balloon that's up and it looks like a pig or something, that's a problem.
Who does it need to look like?
That'll be a
again?
problem.
Mr. Brady, so the first building, I've been looking through this agreement here. The first building, does it specifically say that it has to be new cars?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Does the first building, does it say in the PUD agreement that it has to be new car sales?
The PUD agreement authorizes it to be that, but our site plan shows that.
Okay,
And we're locked into that concept plan.
okay.
I have a question. Speaking of screening, did I hear correctly, and maybe you or Robin can answer this, that there's an assumption that there will be no residential development behind the property, so you do not have to build a screening wall, a masonry wall there?
Yes, ma'am. The present, as we understand your master plan for the city, does not anticipate residential either north or east. And those are the two properties, and I'm talking about abutting us, not indefinitely. But to the north, that's a vacant tract that is presently anticipated to be other than a residential development. To the east is that cement plant, an existing cement plant. Robin may can speak to that more clearly.
It's an employment mixed-use district,
Yes,
so you would
yes.
probably see maybe apartments for residential, but it wouldn't be like a low-density, single-family development.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that, because we know that in the past we've had on our comprehensive plan areas that are supposed to be industrial or otherwise, and they have become residential, single-family residential. And I just want to make sure that since this is just a concept right now, that if that happens and there's residential that's built behind there, there would need to be a masonry wall at that point if that should happen.
If your ordinance provides for that when we come in with a site plan, now again, it won't, with phase one, we're going to be building that. So it will be completed, hopefully operational, within a year or 18 months. Phase two, we still have to come with a site plan, so we have not done that yet. Screening would be an issue in that site plan, and if there were residential use, we'd have to deal with that as well.
Currently, the ordinance wouldn't require it because our comp plan doesn't allow it.
That's right.
So the comp plan, between the now and when they come back to file, the comp plan would have to be changed that would permit single-family residence.
Yes, I know that,
Oh,
but
okay.
that can happen. That's
Sure.
my only worry is that we're going to have that issue where it could be single family residential. We can't assume that for now that it's not, and it won't be, and I'm hoping that it isn't, because we need that for the commercial and our employment sector in that area. So.
If I may, I have like to discuss the sign requests.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, our ordinance requires, it to be a max of 25 feet. And where I have issue, its location, we had, commercial development on the other side, and we made them limit their signage to 25 feet as adequate. And so it's real hard for us to say, okay, y'all can. And I went by the Round Rock store. I don't believe is much taller than that. I think it's close to the same size. So my concern is, why are we going 40 feet?
What we have discussed here is, you may recall that the main lanes are elevated to a certain extent, and we are not allowed to be on the corner. Well, we're not allowed. We could not be on the corner because of the electrical transmission line that's coming through there, and now a TxDOT plan that has been rolled out that shows a kind of a spaghetti bowl down on that corner. Because of that, we needed better signage to capture our market as people move north on that frontage road, and the 40 feet we felt was appropriate, and the size of the sign was appropriate. And working with staff and with your Planning and Zoning Commission, that seemed to be very comfortable for everybody, and it works for us.
And I'm
Correct
just
me if
uncomfortable
I'm-
because we actually told, I believe it was South Star Bank, we told them no. and so we're trying to stay really consistent, and develop right the first time, so I just kind of have a little bit of heartburn with.
So at the time, the TxDOT plan wasn't released, and nobody had any idea there'd be 40-foot flyovers on that corner. But also the LCRA plans weren't released. And how tall is that LCRA transmission line?
I think it's 120 feet.
Yeah, I had heard 160, so
Okay.
we'll go with yours. But that's high. That's right in the line of sight if you're on 183A.
And additionally, I believe there's a rise there, isn't there? On 183A, isn't there a bit of a rise in the road there?
Yes, ma'am. The main lanes are elevated above.
More so than they
grounds.
are
Yes,
south of that location, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this continues to be my big concern is, as I'm reading this PUD document, there's nothing in here that says that you couldn't build both buildings as collision centers. You could build everything on there could be a collision center. I know that's not your intent, but that's what the language says in here.
We could not because the concept plan shows the Honda dealership.
But on the concept plan, it says the service center. The picture of it.
The concept plan for phase one is the Honda dealership, and we could not build anything but the Honda dealership
Does it
without
say
modifying that site.
On the
that
concept plan, Honda dealership, new car sales or anything?
On the concept plan? Well, the signage and the elevations
Right.
are part of the concept plan.
Right.
And that's what we have to build.
Sure.
Come
Now,
back
see,
and
I'm looking at the
modify.
signage, and on the signage, it says service center on there. So I don't see anything that says, I'm looking for in the PUD document that it says the service center is going to be a secondary use.
It does not. It says, the service, you're talking about a collision center? It says that the collision center could be a primary use.
Right.
But it could not be a primary use on phase one.
Where does it say that? Do you know?
It says it in this sense. The concept plan shows phase one, and it shows the Honda elevations and the Honda signage. We cannot do anything else on phase one without modifying that concept
So you're
plan.
talking about the renderings?
Which would have to come back.
Reflect that?
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe I'm just reading it differently.
Could we edit this text to say that?
To say that? Yeah.
Right, I think that would give them a level of comfort if it
Yeah.
called out.
I just don't want the whole thing to be a collision center when we've been sold on a Honda dealership.
And yes, we can add language, as Robin has just mentioned, that would clarify that.
Yeah.
Please know that we are excited about
yeah.
this dealership. We're just trying to make
I'm not
sure
trying to be
we
a pain.
That you
dot
get
all
the
the i's and
dealership.
cross all the t's, and that we get the dealership we're excited about.
And we want to do that too. So
Okay.
yes, we could work
And-
with Robin with apprpropriate language that you
Perfect.
could review before
That's great.
your next
Thank you,
meeting.
Mr. Bray.
Okay, and I have a question about an 80-foot flagpole,
Yes, ma'am.
and that's a very big flag on there. What
Why-
kind
why-
of flag are you planning on putting on there? Because I have gone by a Toyota dealership, and they have this huge, gigantic Toyota flag. And I thought, well, we're going to have two pylon signs announcing your dealership, and I'm wondering, is this another
An
way to get a
American
little
flag
more?
or a Honda
is it going to be
flag?
an American flag, a Texas flag, or is it going to be a Honda flag? I mean, because we already have two big pylon signs planned here for your advertisement.
The size of the flag is standard for a flagpole that's 80 foot high. I didn't know this, but there are actually standards of what size flag to go on.
What's the plan for the flag? What are you going to raise?
I'm sorry, what kind of flag, is that your question?
Yes, sir.
Well, I don't know that, but I'm assuming
American
it's
flag?
an American flag,
Okay.
a U.S. flag.
Isn't it the Longhorn flag on Saturdays?
It would be a U.S. flag.
Okay. God bless America.
Yes, ma'am. Our color guard group.
Thank you, Mr. Bray.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Now,
All
let's
right.
see, just to clarify, we're going to modify, with Robin's help, the language with respect to screening and with respect to phase one.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, council, this is an action item.
I'll motion to approve with the planning and zoning recommendation with the condition that the staff comes back before second reading for the screening and site component revision.
I'll second that. The site
He's not
component being
done.
primary.
Right.
I think that's it.
You didn't want. language
Signs
specifies
That's
it.
the site component.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so we
That
have a
is done.
motion to approve with P&Z modifications and the language changes in the PUD by Councilmember Seiler, with a second by Councilmember Shepherd. Is there any more discussion?
So we're not doing anything with the signs. We're not going to stick to ordinance. We're going to let them double it.
I don't think we can with the new highway construction. Things have changed.
Well, I remember back when I was on P&Z, we were discussing signs along the tollway, and I think the maximum we were going to allow was 30 feet, I remember.
Yeah, and
I remember
ordinance
that's
is
what
We had no
25.
idea the height of the road.
Yeah.
I think with the road changes, it's not like it's a flashing LED sign, you know? It's
Well, I think, will it be LED? It's not allowed?
not on the concept. No, it will not be an LED. Right.
Well, my concern also here is that we're, we're bending on quite a few items that we've made other people stick to with the ordinances. And, I can understand if there is, it's not written in stone yet, but if there is some flyovers going over there that, yeah, maybe you would need a little bit of a higher sign. But we didn't want to clutter up the landscape with big
That was the
tall
purpose.
signs, and that was the purpose behind having that ordinance. I'm just wondering if it's really going to limit the view.
You're also
Or
going
the
to have those
advertisement.
major transmission lines right there on their corner with a lot of power lines. It's
But
very
if those
tall.
are 100 and some odd foot tall, I mean, this sign's only 25, or, you got to focus where the actual traffic's going to be,
Yeah.
You won't put these signs way above that.
Ms. Griffin, do either you or the applicant have a height on 183A at that area? Yes.
Currently, yes.
Do you know the height of those? Anybody?
I don't.
Okay.
We could try.
Sorry, not to put you on the
find
spot.
out
I
between
just
now
thought
and
maybe
next
one of y'all.
reading. Yeah. I would just think you would have the visual, the transmission lines are going to be cluttered visually upwards, but if you kept it to 25 feet, it would be in line with the others, and I think you would see it more so.
Which makes sense unless the road is already 30 feet, and then you've got the sign below it. So maybe,
Well, are we trafficking the people that are down on the access road that might possibly be pulling into the facility?
We're
Or are we
trafficking
trying to
everyone.
get 183 flyover at 80 miles an hour to pull in? Just something to think about. I would think it would be more suitable at the 25 feet, just like, South Star
Maybe
Bank
by
is,
second
the
reading,
people
we
that are
get
driving.
clarification on the flyover, right?
Wayne just estimated 30 to 35 feet, but we could try to find out between now and the second reading and give you a better answer.
That is the current height of one.
He's talking about the flyover.
Oh, the flyover. Got it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just think their target audience would be the people ground level, that are around the area. And it's going to be a beautiful dealership. That's kind of going to grab your eye anyway.
I think they probably want to grab both.
Yeah, I would think a business of that size would
I mean,
want
if you're on the ground, you can see all the cars there in the building.
Yeah. Again, just trying to
No, totally.
keep things consistent and
Okay, so
classy.
we have a motion to approve with a second. I guess we'll take a vote. All in favor? All right, passes unanimously. All right, we move to number 13. Conduct a public hearing regarding zoning case 18-C-030 to amend the current zoning of SFU-2-B single-family urban to CH-2-B cottage housing on two parcels of land, approximately 3.63 acres in size, more particularly described by Williamson Central Appraisal District parcels R031263 and R031264, generally located approximately 225 feet north from the northeast corner of the intersection of Scenic Path and Horizon Park Boulevard, Leander, Williamson County, Texas. Ms. Griffin?
This is a public hearing for a zoning request located to the east of the intersection of Hazelwood and Horizon Park Drive. The applicant is requesting to change the zoning from single-family urban 2B to CH2B, which is the cottage housing zoning district. This use component would allow for the development of 3 or more detached single-family homes on one lot with a maximum density of 8 units per acre. The purpose of this component is to provide flexibility in designing and placing structures while preserving open space, trees, and shared common areas. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed this request at the November 29th meeting, and they unanimously recommended denial of the request. I'll be available for questions after the public hearing.
Thank you. The public hearing is now open. I have several people lined up to speak. I'm going to call your name. If you would give your name and address, you will have 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Mike Allen. Linda Allen. Okay. Diane Smith.
Good evening. My name is Diane Smith, and I live at 802 Overlook Bend in Overlook Estates subdivision. And I thank you for the opportunity that I can speak tonight. My husband is currently the president of the board of directors for the Overlook Estates HOA, and he had to work tonight. But one of the first things that we talked about was that the neighbor that was suggested by the Planning and Zoning Department that the developer or owner never made any contact with us, and his name is in the website as the president. So it would have been very public information for them to contact us. I feel that this is a drastic zoning change. We are not. We would like to see a better flow of zoning through Leander. And it's about the density that the zoning would allow, the traffic. We're concerned about the traffic. If I live at the opposite end of Overlook Estates and my neighbors who would back up to this, but if this was backing up to my yard, I would be very concerned. I back up to smaller lots in my neighborhood. I have 3 lots that back up to my lot, and I have no problem, but I would have a problem with a big area of people that backed up to my lot. I lived in, for us to live next to something this small, our family 20 years ago lived in Irving, Texas, and in that area was pretty built out, but it was very spotty zoning. You had small clusters of nice homes next to apartments, and it was very spotty, and we lived there, we rented there, and when we looked to build, we did not want to live there because we wanted to live in a place that flowed. So we looked at Capel to build our house. So I just would respectfully ask that you not change this zoning designation from the single-family urban at this time, and I thank you for listening.
Thank you. Sarah Fullwood.
Hi, I'm Sabra Fullwood. I live at 708 Overlook Bend. Thank you all for serving and for taking the time to listen to us. I know you all want what is best for Leander. No one moves to Leander to live in an apartment or a cottage home. People move out here because they can live in a nice home with a yard for their children, their dogs. I don't see any benefit for Leander to densely populate the area. Take the 3.63 acre tract that we're talking about. If you take out 20% for roads and sidewalks, it leaves you with roughly 3 acres. You could build 6 homes like ours in Overlook Estates at $500,000 each. This would give you a tax base of $3 million. There's obviously a market for this. There are no homes in our neighborhood for sale right now. We've had people stop and ask, hey, if you know of one if one's coming for sale, let us know. Or you could take that same 3 acres and divide it into quarter-acre tracts and build 12 $400,000 homes. This would give a tax base of $4.8 million. This would be similar to Leander Crossing, where houses are selling hand over foot just immediately, which is also nearby. Or you could do what is proposed, and you could have 17 houses with a minimum square footage of 900 feet at an unknown price. I can't imagine that anybody would pay more than $175,000 for something like this. If you use that number, the tax base would come out to $3 million, which is less than what it would be with 6 homes like what is right next to it in Overlook Estates, and far less than what would be the tax base if you had homes like Leander Crossing at $4.8 million. Who benefits from this? It doesn't appear that the city would benefit because of the tax base. The fire and police departments would have more people, therefore more calls. The schools most certainly would not benefit. They're already at capacity. In addition, if you look at any statistics, you'll see that the success of the school or the school's performance is directly related to the home values in that area. And the surrounding neighborhood would definitely not benefit, and that's why we're here. There is one person that would benefit, and that is the builder and developer. The profit margin when you build lower cost homes is higher for the builder or developer. I'm not sure why there's a push for lower cost housing in Leander. The existing apartments are only at 50% capacity according to the community impact. There are far more homes for sale in this in the lower price range right now than there are in the upper one. The demand for homes is where people are willing to drive through traffic every day in order for their children to have a yard to play in and a good school to go to. So please reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you. David Frank.
Good evening. My name is David Frank. I live at 1003 Overlook Bend. I'm one of the newer neighbors in Overlook Estate. My recommendation to the City Council and Mayor is to reject the proposed zoning change for the property located there on Horizon Park Boulevard. I know that the city has established zoning rules and that this current plan, the way it's proposed, is inconsistent with what the city has as far as its land use policy. In addition, there is plenty of already established cottage housing properties zoned in Leander. This property should have been zoned probably a single family estate, but due to the fact that it's not, they can build up to 20 to 24 houses there. This is a problem. Cottage housing doesn't fit this area. I know that the new property owner purchased this land knowing that this property was zoned for single family. If everyone could have whatever zoning he or she wished for as a property owner, there'd be no purpose in having zoning regulations. So the other thing that I reject or disagree with is that the proposed use is significantly different from the existing use that's already in the area. There's no transition between the properties. The zoning change will directly impact my property value, and we recently purchased this house looking specifically at their various zoning areas around us, but not understanding that single family does not necessarily mean that. It probably means multifamily with additional housing. Further, cottage houses are positioned closer to the outer perimeter of the property line. This will also remove the buffer of trees that currently exist, even though there are some cedars. It would definitely, they'd have to clear cut it in order to make it work. So I really appreciate your time, and thank you for rejecting this, because I really think it's a bad idea.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anna Frank.
Hi, my name is Anna Frank. I am David's wife, and I live as well in 1003 Overlook. My recommendation to the City Council and Mayor is to reject the proposed zoning change for the property located on Horizon Park. Same reasons my neighbors have said, plus I would like to say the zone planning of the city is not being consistent applied with the area next to us. The land in Leander is sufficiently open and big in Texas to have so many people squeezed into living in such a small place and a piece of land like this. This causes mainly more traffic and roads that are not ready, like Horizon and Hazelwood, to be packed and busy. Not to mention the roads right in front of this plan that are not ready to have about 50 cars. If you have a house, 18 or 20 houses there, minimum a household has 2 cars, maybe 3. Besides those houses, for what I have seen, the garage is not really a garage, it's mainly a storage, so it doesn't fit a typical Texan vehicle, which is pretty big, and I will be parked outside, or I don't know where, because there is no space. We already have seen danger in Hazelwood and Horizon in the mornings from the police traffic, the school drop-off that is just right there on Leander Lane, from workers, from moms dropping off kids, from students driving there. It's not safe. You want to build houses where the streets are not even ready to host all this traffic that is already not safe. Like I mentioned last time, my kids can walk from where I live because they go to the school in Leander Lane. They cannot even walk because it's not safe, not even for walking. So, and not to mention that just recently we had a Leander school student that was killed in an accident on Monday because of traffic. And I have a teenager that is ready to drive. One of my biggest concerns is that even my husband that drives to Austin will get into an accident because of the problems with traffic we have in the whole city, especially Bell, Crystal Falls, nearby where we live. We came from Minnesota. We have a lot of accidents. Not a lot. Actually, I have seen more accidents here, not because of weather. In Minnesota, we have accidents because of weather. Here, there is no reason for that. And my biggest concern is always, did you make it safer? Do you make it safe to work? I don't think it's fair to be having so many people living in a small place and having so many other multiple problems like this. I keep wondering, is it necessary to have a lot of traffic in the city and our surroundings? Is it necessary to have a great deal of noise? Is it necessary to cut trees down because of many houses are built in a small area? Is it necessary to live in the stress when we drive and have lots of accidents? And you all might experience this. It's not just me. I am disappointed to find out that the comprehensive plan was done 5 years ago.
Thank you, ma'am. Paul Belangia.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing?
How you doing?
My name is Paul Belangia. Put a few comments together. So I live at 605 Scenic Path, which is right next to it. Oh, you can't see it on that map, but I've lived in Leander about 7 years, which 4 years has been in this area. I lived previously in the Fairways, which was kind of nice, too damn hilly, but anyway. So along with my wife and I, my son lives here with his 2 children, and which we love, having grandkids by us, right, 8 and 9, so that's a lot of fun. And so I want to get kind of to the point. So I'm here to voice my opinion pertaining to the agenda, item number 13. Proposal would change the zoning from SFU, which is single-family urban, to cottage homes. The property in question borders the back of my property, as I mentioned, so it's quite important to me. I'm not in support of the zoning change. However, I'm a big supporter of Leander overall. I'm opposed to any change that negatively affects any small neighborhood, not just mine. The proposal to CH zoning will allow property owner to build housing, townhomes and that sort of thing, as small as 900 square feet. Homes in townhomes that small and in close proximity to homes like the Overlook Estates, which are an average of about 3,000 square foot, is indicative of poor planning. I'm not a planner, but I just feel that way. I'm an electrical engineer, not a planner, right? Also, no more than one lot over from this lot, which is very close, is what I consider the crown jewel in Leander, if it's still in the books. And that would be that huge lagoon that's going to be built, the restaurants, hotels, and that sort of thing. So I think we should keep it to SFU if at all possible. They could probably still build on it like that. It would be less financially beneficial, of course. Another discussion is, in the future, I would request that property owners provide details of potential property improvements before we can intelligently assess any zoning changes. Also, I would suggest that the Planning and Zoning Commission suggest to that property owner to contact our HOA staff, and we could set up a small meeting to review their plans and see if there's any room for a compromise. That would save all of us a lot of time and effort. I mentioned that last week to the planning and zoning people when we broke up, and they said, we wish most of them would do that. They just don't do that. They just go for the gusto. But that would save a lot of time. The other thing is, with the massive population growth in Leander, I think when I moved here, it was like, in 2011, it was like 25,000. Now it's like damn near 60,000. Leander has seen 8 to 10 years. I hope that the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council would drive more focus on commercial growth versus residential growth in an effort to increase sales tax revenue and continue to lower property taxes in Leander, just like we're doing with the Hunter dealership, which I'm all for. Summarize, I'm not in support of the zoning.
Thank you, sir. Clifford Hall.
Honorable Mayor, City Council women, City Councilmen. Of course, you know, my first day here was the zoning of the PUD in this district, which, of course, who knew I would be so involved in civic affairs? Boy, would it have been nice if you just made the denial vote right up front and we would be done in 45 minutes, less of our lives here. But such as it is. So, yes, I'm at 604 Scenic Path across the street there from the red intersection of the two lots. Single-family urban, according to many of our developments. Here's a 305-foot width corridor and can house approximately 12 to 14 homes of $300,000 to $400,000 if we check many of our SFU neighborhoods. Cottage housing, 6 acres, 48 max homes. Of course, you know, I don't know the planning issues around that for streets and such. But I bring to your attention, the entire area is really turning into nice neighborhoods. We have Overlook. We have the neighborhoods closer to the east side. We have the south areas. I believe that all of those are $200,000 to $500,000 homes. Well, this entire area could be continued development in that area. The future use plan was for residential. And now the zone being urban up to the smart zone, I think, was reasonably appropriate. If we try to follow the laws and the rules that we've set forward, we can see that single-family estate is designated large lots, and yet our composite zoning ordinance for single-family urban and suburban are defined as either intermediate or moderate-sized lots. If we then go to our composite zoning for those lots, they are designated as transition between moderate-sized lots and higher density areas. Cottage homes are clearly designated as either, let's see, cottage homes are, okay, they're high density areas. I'll have to look at the transition area. So I think that if we follow our zoning rules, the transition is clearly should be the urban or the single family residential. Secondly, cottage housing requires to be within 600 feet of shared amenity space. Difficult to see that that has been accomplished here, if it can be accomplished at all. Third, I would like to present historical precedents. Now, since I'm not colorblind, thank heavens, I was able to look at a detailed the zoning map of all of Leander. There are 3 sections of Leander that encompass single-family estate areas. Primarily, they are in our main section, not Crystal Falls. They include homes along Falcon Oaks Drive, Oak Hollow Drive, and County Glen Drive. All of these neighborhoods, every single zone around them does not show cottage housing. It has all been designated properly in the intermediate and moderate style lots of single-family residential and single-family urban. We're only asking the same thing to follow the zoning rules we've set forth and show the people that want to eventually build out this area that we can produce a fine neighborhood.
Robin Stevens.
My name is Robin Stevens. I live at 1008 Overlook Bend. I want to thank you all for your willingness to volunteer, your personal time to serve our city. I know you spend countless hours each week in this capacity on top of your regular jobs. As a teacher, I understand this well and want you to know I appreciate what you are doing for our community.
I am also aware that the city has to recommend an issue if it meets all of the legal requirements, but that doesn't always mean that what is presented is best for our community and all those that are involved. So I'm thankful that we have checks and balances such as the Planning and Zoning Committee and the City Council for situations such as this one. And I'm thankful to be able to express my viewpoints. When I think of this proposal, I keep hearing the words of the renowned intellect Big Bird from Sesame Street, which I will say and not sing. You're welcome. One of these things is not like the others. Which one is different? Do you know? Can you tell which thing is not like the others? I'll tell you if it is so. This proposed development doesn't make sense next to our subdivision. It isn't like the others. It's vastly different in every way possible: size, density, architecture, style. There's no transitional flow from large estates to small cottages or townhomes. Big Bird would not like this. Even though the lots are much smaller in Leander Crossing, the houses are still big with similar architecture, so that the transition and flow from our neighborhood to Leander Crossing makes more sense. I love the cottage look. I think they're cute and nostalgic, but they need to be in an area that makes sense. One of my daughters is a student at Texas A&M in Corpus Christi, so we've had to spend a lot of time in Corpus Christi over the last 3 years. That city drives me crazy because it has no transitional flow. It's a hodgepodge of poorly matched neighborhoods. It's as if a toddler dumped his box of blocks out on the floor and the city of Corpus Christi was plotted and developed from what resulted. That's how I feel this proposal would affect our community in this area. I must say I'm also disappointed that the developer did not make any attempt to meet with us to discuss their ideas. I think it's important that we work together to create a community that we can all be proud of and enjoy living in. And certainly there's always the concern of how such a development will affect our property values. And of course we would all like guarantees that once the zoning is changed, that what has been proposed will actually be built so that existing properties are protected. Because of this, I respectfully ask you to side with Big Bird and myself on this issue and vote against this proposal. It is too different, it doesn't transition well, and it just doesn't make sense for the area. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry Darden. All right. Justin Darden.
Good evening. Thanks for allowing us the chance to voice our opinions. My name is Justin Darden. I live at 1021 Overlook Bend. I've been in Overlook Estates now for about 5.5 years. I've been in Leander for just over almost 17 years now. Phenomenal growth out here. It's just mind-boggling. I consider myself a native at this stage in the game. I'm not going to try to repeat everything. My background, I have a degree in urban planning, graduated in 95 from Southwest Texas State University. So I try to take a look at this more from a technical aspect. Everything on that map surrounding our neighborhood is single family, urban. Everything. According to the planning analysis documentation, this component of CH or cottage housing is generally intended, and I quote, to provide an orderly transition to create a buffer between larger lot neighborhoods, which we are in Overlook Estates, and more intensive uses such as multifamily or commercial uses or arterial roadways. Everything around us is single family. There is no transition anywhere there. So if you put cottage housing, you're essentially approving spot zoning. There is no transition. Everything else is single family. So, and from a planning perspective, everything that I learned in school tells me that sort of zoning is not good here. It just doesn't fit. Everything around us, again, is single family. Nothing is transitioning to multifamily anywhere in the abutting neighborhoods. As you've heard earlier testimony, that seems to be true for the other areas in the city zoned as single-family estates. So just keep that in mind. As I understand it, the Scout motto is to always be prepared. You had the facets of the Scouts here earlier tonight. And the quote-unquote motto of the City Council is highest and best use.
And that's the question. Is that really the highest and best use for that particular parcel of land, considering that nothing else around it, it's transitioning to nothing else other than single family? Why change that particular spot? Simple question. So I encourage you to vote no on this zoning change. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Darren Goodwin. Are you a doctor, sir?
So my name is David Godwin. I'm CEO of Slingshot Aerospace, an Austin-based company. We moved to Leander literally like 5-6 months ago, so we're new to the area. Been in Austin since the early 90s, Houstonite from where I was born, and just love the area. I mean, we're so excited to be here. And so when we found out about the cottage housing, we were really disappointed. It was, nothing against it. We lived in the Bee Caves area at the Hill Country Gallery in one of the townhomes there before, and love the kind of urban lifestyle and some of that similar type vibe that has. But it's not the right area, as many others have said. The transition to those things is it just doesn't fit the feel of the neighborhood. It'll detract from the value. It'll detract from the feel of the area. And I think Leander's got a lot of space. I mean, there's a lot of growth to be done, and there's a lot of great places for those type of things to exist. I'd love for them to go take that and put it next to some retail or something where you could have that urban lifestyle and walking lifestyle type thing. So I think it's 3 acres. It's, we've offered, a group of us have gone to them and asked if there's a chance we could maybe buy the property from them to make it easy for them to transition somewhere else. They haven't gotten back to us with anything. They haven't reached out to us to talk about the development itself, to educate us more on it. And so I can't tell them I'm opposed to it. So we'd like to collaborate. I get it that they have to run a business, but I just think there's better areas for them to be. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Welcome to Leander.
Yes. All right, Lance Wilson.
Good evening. My name is Lance Wilson. I live at 601 Scenic Path. I moved into the house about the middle of 2015. When I was looking around, I looked specifically at the zoning for that land because I'm right there on Horizon Park, on the street, adjacent to the street, and also my backyard is adjacent to the subject property. Excuse me. And so I looked at the zoning and understanding that it was normal density residential. I was thinking, okay, I'm good to go. I'll set out roots. I'll invest the money into the house. I'll live there. And then, 3 years later to have the zoning potentially change, it seems my appeal to you is more of just a sense of fairness. I understood what the zoning was. On that basis, I made an intelligent decision as to where to invest my money, as to where to live. And now the developer also was aware of the zoning, and they must have agreed that it was profitable with the existing zoning, or it was not smart to buy it. It seems to me that they shouldn't have expected to count on changing the zoning, because no telling, if they can make that work. So my appeal to you is just a simple issue of fairness. I knew what the zoning was, and on that basis I made a decision. They knew what the zoning was when they made their decision, and so now to change it after I've already put down roots and spent a lot of money, I think is just basically unjust. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That is the last person signed up. Would anybody else like to speak on this item? Okay. Sir, if you fill out a card after you speak, that'd be okay?
Yes, sir. I originally said that I did not want to speak.
Okay.
I wanted to add a few items. Mr. Mayor, council members.
You'd state your name and address, sir.
Gerard Sawicki, 603 Scenic Path. In between the last speaker, I'm a retired military, 27 years, 2003 we found this place, and I have children in the area, and we decided to move. It's been a beautiful area. What people maybe not know about it because it's maybe new to you, not to me, there are a few problems. It doesn't happen very often,
But in thinking of 20 or 50 cars that are locked in that little area, and when they go to work, probably all about the same time, there is a problem north with the lake. Everybody's familiar with the pond that is north on Horizon Boulevard that floods, and it might take a week or so, and then there's no place to go to the north. So then everybody would backtrack to get possibly down Scenic Path and to get to where they're going. Or there'd be a lot of people trying to get out, people going north and going towards the police station and fire station. So that's a problem. The developers didn't mention, probably to the people that they were trying to sell to, is the fact that there is noise from the roofing company. They make quite a bit of noise. The present tree situation filters the noise to a minimum level. You also have, which is good, the police department has a shooting range there, but that also does make noise, and some people are apprehensive of that. I looked at a section of cottage houses down Crystal Falls Parkway all the way down past Randall's. There's a beautiful area. The houses are immaculate, but they're spaced in a circular area, which you are probably familiar with, and also the area next to it is condominiums, which is appropriate. So that is not probably possible in that little small area when you consider that you do want to create Hazelton Road to continue on, but from there, where is it going to go into the streets and divide everything up? And since you don't have any minimum lot designation for cottage housing, they could, but anyway, I would like to voice my opinion to not vote. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, at this time, I'm going to close the public hearing, and we're going to move to discuss and consider action on the first reading of an ordinance regarding zoning case 18-Z-030 to amend the current zoning of SFU-2-B, single-family urban, to CH-2-B, cottage housing.
Motion to deny.
I'll second.
Can I ask Robin a question, though? This is maybe just a point of curiosity more than anything else. So there's, on cottage housing, it's 3 or more cottages or homes per lot. How many we're going to fit in here, and how big a size a lot are we talking about?
So they would most likely develop it as one condo lot with multiple units on it, and I think we came up with a number of 18 with streets, and they would have to provide some common space. So the ordinance requires a little bit of parkland for the residents.
Okay, so only 18?
Yeah, just with, you have to build a road, you have to have detention, you have to have parkland. There are a lot of things that go into it.
Okay.
And that's just a guess. We are
guess.
not engineers. We didn't design a subdivision. We were just winging
So
it.
single-family urban, how many lots are going to fit in? How many?
It's probably about the same, maybe a little bit
about the
less.
same.
Yeah, so the difference would be you build a street to the city standards, so that takes up more space. With the cottages, you could do a private drive that could be a smaller area.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I just want to make the comment that quality attracts quality, and this is just very dense, and it does not fit with the current residents of Overlook.
And also, I think, I'm looking at our little cheat sheet on composite zoning, and, a lot of the speakers have talked about transitions. We're talking about 5 categories down for this. Whenever we're looking at something like that, I would like to see the actual plan to sell us on why the applicant feels this should be approved. when it's something that drastic.
I think we need it. It just absolutely does not fit at this location.
As a side note, a couple of comments made about how we should be focusing on commercial. We get that. We don't get to decide who buys land and puts what where. So just so everybody's clear on that. We agree.
Also, just looking at these trees, it's going to cost someone a lot of money to remove these trees.
I think they're all cedar.
And then
Oh,
the
are they?
neighborhood loses.
Okay.
I'm good with it if it's cedar. Let's take it down.
Yeah, as all of us are sneezing up here, yeah.
All right, we do have a motion by Councilmember Sederquist with a second by Councilmember Shepherd. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? We're in favor of denying
Denial.
the request.
To be clear, denial.
Psych. All opposed to denying the request? All right, it is denied unanimously.
You have to have a second reading when you deny?
No.
We're going to take a 10-minute break before we move to our regular hearing. All right, the time is now 7:37. We're going to reconvene. We're going to move to our regular agenda. Item 14, we're going to receive a presentation from Buxton Retail Analysis. I did sponsor this item. This is discussion only, no action. Mr. Miller, welcome.
All right, Mayor, Council, I appreciate the opportunity to be out here in front of everybody this evening. My name is Rob Miller with the Buxton Company. And what I'm here tonight to talk about is economic development in Leander, specifically retail and commercial development. The company I work for, Buxton, for the last 15 years in the public sector, we've been most well known for helping communities to create and implement economic development strategies that are geared towards retail recruitment and business retention. So we help communities to focus in on driving the right type of amenities that their current and their future populations are going to want, right? What makes Leander a desirable place for people to want to live? On the other side of that, we help communities to drive tax revenues. So by attracting the best use of retail, those brands, those businesses that fit within the vision for development that you guys have laid out, we help communities to drive tax revenues. Now, the reason that we've been able to work with over 900 communities across the country, more than 130 communities here in Texas over the past 15 years, and open over 40 million square feet of retail space with our community clients, is because of our background. And our background is really what separates us from anybody else that operates in this space helping communities to attract retail. We are a consumer analytics company. We've spent the past 25 years as the trusted advisor to over 3,000 different retailers. We help retailers to make multi-million-dollar site selection decisions. We were a company that was founded by retailers for retailers. So we're a family-owned company out of Fort Worth, Texas. We've got about 150 employees. And we were actually started by our CEO, Tom Buxton, who was formerly with Radio Shack. So back in the early 90s, Tom was head of site selection for Radio Shack. So back when Radio Shack was still good, was still opening great locations. And every single year, Tom was tasked with going out and opening those home run locations for Radio Shack. So he'd open a number of great locations, some okay locations, and then every year there'd be those underperformers. So Tom started to think, if I could only just open average locations, right? If I can just get rid of those underperformers that cost us a lot of money down the line, that was going to be really big for the company. Tom created Buxton to do exactly that. He founded Buxton to get retailers to not think location, 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 but customer, customer, customer. We flipped the site selection industry on its head by getting retailers to not think traffic counts, not think location, not think just median household income, but to think customers. Who are my best customers? Not demographically, but how do those individuals live their lives and how do they spend their money? Right? What makes somebody that is prone to go out and eat at a quick serve restaurant and dine out of convenience differ
from that individual that goes to an H-E-B or a Whole Foods at the start of the week and purchases their groceries. We're the largest aggregator of household-level data in the nation. So we work with all of these retailers and many more that you see up on the screen to identify who are their best customers. So think somebody like an At Home or a Marriott Hotels. We're the company they turn to say, where do I open my next location? What flag is it? Is it an AC? Is it a courtyard? Is it a Spring Hill Suites? How many rooms and how many floors? We know retail. We know how retailers might make site selection decisions. And it's because of this understanding and this experience working in the retail space, not from a commercial real estate standpoint, but from a customer, from a site selection standpoint, that we've been able to be successful working with communities. So over the past 15 years, we've worked with over 900 communities across the country, all the way to folks as large as Washington, D.C., downtown Dallas, all the way down to very, very small emerging markets across the country, and everybody in between. In Texas, we've worked with over 130 different communities. We know Texas. We're from here. We know how to work with emerging markets and very quickly growing markets like yours. Somebody like a Salina, Texas, who we've worked with for over a decade now. We started working with them when they were less than 4,000 population. So if you're not familiar with Salina, they're north of Dallas, kind of sandwiched in there between Frisco. They've got McKinney in the area. They've got a ton of big, larger communities that have those major retail centers that left Salina in the position where they knew growth was heading out towards them, but they really didn't know if they could do anything about it. So they partnered with us to create that strategy to take ownership over the type of businesses that they wanted to have in their community. So we've helped them to land more than 20 retailers over that time that we've worked with them. It's been a very successful partnership. More specifically, Waxahachie, Texas, client that we've worked with over a couple of years now. We helped them to land a $50 million development. We helped them to secure a developer for that $50 million development. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of tax revenue every single year by taking the approach that a retailer takes. Not taking the commercial real estate, not taking the brokerage approach, but understanding what is that lens that a retailer puts on when they view Leander. Right? Retailers, they don't just look at political boundaries. They don't just look at median household income. They take a 30,000-foot view of the market. Right? Retailers are actively looking at your general area. There is a lot of growth that's heading out here. In fact, before coming out here, I actually looked at the retailers we're currently working with. In the last 30 days, 47 retailers we're working with have been scoring sites in your general market area. Now, the process that a retailer goes through when they select a location, they're typically going to look very closely at about 10 to 15 sites to ultimately choose one. So they're looking at Leander, right? The question is, are you guys going to be part of that process? Are you going to be able to land on that list, that one location that retailer's ultimately going to open? We help communities to understand what is that playbook that retailer is using, how do we put our community in the best light possible, and how do we recruit to win? Another example, McAllen, Texas, so down on the Texas-Mexico border. We recently just helped McAllen to land a Jimmy John's, a Dick's Sporting Goods, and a Payway. This is actually a quote from somebody that we're working with McAllen, talking about their experience with Buxton. So the people who work at Buxton are concise. They have a responsiveness that I've never seen before. Their customer service is excellent. I feel like the people at Buxton have the same passion for my city as I do. Buxton's a great match for a city who's looking to take their community to the next level. If you're with Buxton, you're in very good hands. What I hope to talk about for the rest of the evening tonight is how, through a partnership with Buxton, we're going to put you guys in great hands. We're going to help you to execute the vision for retail and commercial development here in Leander. Now, because of the work that we've done both on the private and the public side of our business, we've been recognized. Why I share this with communities is not to boast or brag. It's really because when you're a community and you're putting your name out there on the national scene, in front of retailers, you're associating the brand that's so important to you with another firm, you want to make sure that that firm is recognized. Right? You want to make sure that you're associating yourselves with a company that meets the same standards as your community. Fast Company voted us to the Fast 50 list. Our CEO, Tom Buxton, is recognized as one of the 3 most influential people shaping retail. We're strategic partners with ICMA. So the International City Managers Association, they actually lean on us for continued education for city managers. We've been doing this for 25 years with retailers. We've scored hundreds of thousands of locations across the entire United States in all shapes and sizes of markets. We've worked with communities for 15 years in all shapes and sizes of markets. So now that I've gotten through the background of who we are, how we started working in the public sector, I want to quickly walk through exactly what we do in our partnerships with communities, why we've been able to fill 40 million square feet of retail space with communities we've worked with. We approach working with communities on 2 prongs: retail recruitment and business retention. We want to identify what retail concepts should be in your community that currently are not, and then proactively go out and recruit those retailers. Now, you may hear other folks emphasize that proactive part of retail recruitment. It's not proactive if you are taking a shotgun approach, blindly calling retailers. The process we go through is we identify, because we've worked with retailers for the past 15 years, the past 25 years, we know what specific brands are looking for a market like yours, and we only target those brands. We also mesh that in with the vision you guys have for development. Right, so if you don't want another dollar store, we're not going to be talking to a dollar store. If you don't want a Hooters in your community, we're not going to be talking to Hooters. Right? If you don't want a vape shop or whatever that might be, we're going to help. At the end of the day, this is your strategy. We want to make sure you guys can execute your vision. On the flip side of that, we don't just focus on recruiting new businesses and forget about existing businesses and communities. So we focus in on supporting the existing business owners that you have, helping them to leverage the data that we have access to, the same type of data that we use with Trader Joe's, At Home, and Lowe's to help them make shelf allocation decisions. We make that available to local businesses. We help you to think like a retailer. So the first step to getting you guys to think like a retailer is getting you to understand your customers, getting you to understand your citizens as consumers. Right? The most important thing to a retailer is, are there enough of my right types of customers located in this market? So we're going to create a thumbprint of your market. We're going to help you to understand what's that lens a retailer puts on, who are we as a market, so that you as local leaders, when you hear residents reach out to you and they say, hey, why don't we have a Whole Foods? Or, why is all the retail, going to the surrounding communities? Why are those mega centers going there? You're not in a position where you're sitting there and speculating. Well, I think that this business isn't here because of this. Or, yes, that business should be here and we're going to go after them. In as little as 30 days or less, we're going to be able to tell you who is a fit for your community and who's not. Oftentimes, especially for leaders, it can be more important to know who's not a fit and why. Right? How do you get to the point where you can go after some of those retailers that may be on your wish list? We know this because we come from site selection. We do not approach it from a commercial brokerage standpoint. We're not a middleman in this process. It's not always about who you know, and I'll tell you, we know everybody that operates in this market. Sometimes it's also about who knows you, right? If somebody else is reaching out on your behalf, somebody that operates in the commercial real estate space, I question whether those retailers know who that individual representing your community is. When you attach our name to your outreach, retailers know us and they listen. So, how we match communities to retailers. We want to help you guys to understand who lives and who works in your market. Not demographically, but psychographically. So you see 2 individuals up here on the screen. They look exactly identical from a demographic standpoint. Age, income, marital status. If a retailer comes into your community and you're presenting this type of information, we're a community of 49,000 individuals. We've got 99,000 within a 15-minute trade area. We have, X median household income. That doesn't tell this individual, this retailer, is this individual going to shop in my store or dine in my restaurant? by leveraging the power of consumer analytics, we're able to reveal now we've got Steve and we've got Jim. Now, Steve and Jim, they looked exactly the same demographically, but psychographically, how they live their lives, how they spend their money, how they view the world, they're completely different. Think about yourself. Think about the neighborhood that you live in. I'd be willing to bet that, for the most part, the folks that live in your neighborhood, they're probably similar types of age as you. They're probably similar types of median household income, similar types of employment. You guys look the same demographically. But if you think about how you live your life as opposed to your neighbor, it's probably vastly different. Right? We can come in and we can now see that Steve and Jim. Steve, he's very health-oriented. Steve goes to Whole Foods. He loves working out. Whereas Jim lives a sedentary lifestyle. Jim is a Walmart customer. Jim loves Netflix. Jim loves video games. If you were a fitness concept, if you were a juice concept, are you going to want more Steves or Jims? Are you going to want to know where the Steves are? You're absolutely going to want to know where the Steves are. I can tell you every household in your community that looks just like Steve. So thinking about how retailers, they're going to look at 10 locations in your general area, right? How do you convince them to choose you guys over somebody else? You convince them not by talking about the land that's available. There's so much land that's available everywhere out here. You talk about the customers that you have, right? You talk about the customers that are going to be coming here, all those new home starts that you have. It's all about getting engaged in conversations with retailers and then being able to tell that unique story, right? Being part of the process, not removing local involvement from the process. We help communities to identify those specific retailers. We do that typically in about 30 to 45 days. Right now, I can say that we would be able to do that much quicker than that for you guys. Potentially, if you guys are looking to go to ICSC Red River, we would probably be able to get you guys some matches before that. That's how quickly we're able to turn this around. So it's not, wait 90 days. It's not wait 120 days for a, packet of information. This is something that we can do because we own all of our own data. We have our own software platform. We're a team of 150, right? Our account management team is bigger than all of the other firms that are out there combined. We're not just a data company. We have about 80 individuals in geospatial, predictive, GIS analysts, right, that take the data and pull big answers out of the data. So once we match communities to retailers, that is just the start of our partnership, right? There's a study for everything in government. There's a study for the study. We want to make sure that this is not just a study. We want to make sure this is not just data. We want to make sure that retailers are not just getting one call and being left alone. We want to make sure that this is a strategy that can be implemented. And we do that in two different ways. One, by giving you guys technology, a tool that all of our retail partners currently use called Scout. It's a GIS tool that we maintain in-house. We created it ourselves, so we own all of the data. It's a very powerful platform that's going to allow you to talk to retailers from the palm of your hand or at the click of a mouse button. It allows you to manage conversations. So whoever is owning those conversations within your community, within your city, is able to make that information, make those conversations visible to council. So you don't have to wait for quarterly updates. You don't have to wait for monthly updates. All of that information is in the Scout platform. You will have an idea of how retailers view your community. You will have an idea of exactly where you're at in conversations with each and every one of those retailers. We also arm you with an account management team. So we don't just cut a hole in the fence and say, hey, here's your retailers, here's the contact information, have fun. We assign you a team of account managers. That will be led by myself. I will be your primary point of contact, but you will have a full team behind you that has worked directly with retailers, that has sat in on site selection decisions with retailers, that can help you navigate conversations with developers, that can help you navigate conversations with potential franchisees. We want to make sure you guys have the support. We want to put you guys in the driver's seat and ride shotgun. We want to tack on 150 economic development experts to your community. This is the approach that has made us so successful working the last 15 years across Texas and across the country. To give you a quick rundown of what that looks like, we match you to all of those retailers. We don't just use one set of data and then try to use it to attract a Target and try to use it to attract a Chick-fil-A. I'll tell you now, they both look at markets completely differently. We assemble the specific information for each and every retailer that we match a community to. We are the only company that has the capability to do that because we have the retail background. Right? I can give you the confidence to reach out to a retailer and not say, hey, Chick-fil-A, I love your brand. I love your chicken. I know you guys are great in the community. Are you interested in Leander? We're going to position you to be able to say, Chick-fil-A, I love your chicken. I know you guys are great in the community. I also know you guys can be really successful in Leander. I've done my homework. I know that I've got a great location for you. I've looked at every location you have across the entire United States. This is how this location stacks up to those successful locations that you have. You're going to be able to visualize this all through Scout. You're going to be able to manage conversations like I mentioned. More importantly, through Scout, you're going to be able to support your existing business community. So, like I said, we want to make sure a rising tide of development lifts all boats. Right? So this can be existing business owners, but I think almost more importantly, what about potential entrepreneurs that are interested in opening businesses here in Leander? Right? It's not all about just those national brands or even those regional brands. Right? What about when somebody's interested in opening a women's boutique clothing store or a yoga studio or a coffee shop? How are you positioned as a community to get them to choose your market over somebody else? We will be your partner for that. We've helped communities to engage in conversations with entrepreneurs. We have leveraged data that entrepreneurs can take to the bank to help them get a loan. So we're not just retail recruitment. We're going to help you guys support existing businesses, and we're going to help you guys to go out and bring in unique businesses to Leander because we are an analytics firm. On top of that, not only do we provide data and information for local businesses, we actually provide a tool for a local business owner. It's called LSMX, Local Store Marketing Powered by Buxton. So not only are we the only folks that are out there that work on business retention, we are going to put an actual tool in your local business owner's hands. Through LSMX, this gives a local business owner the ability to come in and enter some basic information about their business. So in the example you see on the screen, this is a bike company, a bike shop. And basically, in a matter of minutes, they enter in that information, and it's going to pull up a map of your community. And it's going to show a red dot, so you can walk down a street, and you can see there's a dot on that household, there's not a dot on that one. Every red dot is a customer, a potential customer of that bike store. So now that local business owner that isn't a marketing expert, that doesn't have time to run a marketing campaign, but is still interested in getting the word out there, they can use this application, they can circle households, and they can execute a marketing campaign through 5 different channels in a matter of minutes to those households. Facebook, direct mail, email, Google AdWords. We are putting the power of big data in the hands of your local business owners for free. This is a very powerful platform that many of our retail clients leverage as well. We're going to put it in the hands of your local business owners. So our account management team, they're going to be dedicated to your success. Their performance in their job is they're held accountable to the success of their clients. We're not, the process that we take, we don't remove local involvement. We're not somebody that you're outsourcing retail development to. We're not going to be having conversations on your behalf, nor should you want somebody to have conversations on your behalf. Think about it. If somebody that's working with 10 communities, 15 other communities, picks up the phone and talks to a retailer, are you the first community that they mention? Are you the second? Is somebody paying them more than you? Right? What does that conversation actually look like? We empower you to take ownership over the recruitment process and have the tools and support and the brand recognition to go out and take ownership over the recruitment process. So to recap, the reason why we've been successful is because of our background. Right? We come from retail. We work with retailers. We're not a middleman that executes transactions. We work at the C-suite level with retailers. We know those specific variables that dictate successful locations. when it comes to data, nobody else can compete with us. There's a reason why Marriott works with us. There's a reason why At Home works with us. There's a reason why In-N-Out works with us. There's a reason why Jersey Mike's, why Which, why Firehouse Subs works with us. It's because of the breadth and depth of data that we have. We're going to support you, right? You're going to be tacking on 150 economic development experts to your community. And then finally, we're going to put industry-leading technology in the palm of your hands. We're going to bring instant credibility to your community when you reach out to retailers. So through a partnership with us, we're going to help you guys to improve quality of life, right? Attract those amenities that you guys are looking to attract for your residents. We're going to help you to increase tax revenues, and then we're going to help keep local business local, keep local dollars local. I want to thank everybody for the opportunity to be out here tonight and open up the floor for any questions and continued conversation on retail development. Thank you.
Rob, so you heard tonight from a gentleman that moved here in 2011, and he talked about the population being like 25,000, and we're close to 60 now. So, like, how often do you refresh that data?
Yeah, so our data, Scout, is a live living data set.
Okay.
So many of the data sources are updated every 8 weeks. It's the clients that we work with, so it's the same data that we leverage for all of our retail clients. They demand, they're making multi-million-dollar site selection decisions. So, some folks will come in and tell you they spend 6 figures on data. We spend over $1 million every single year on data. So when it comes to breadth and depth of data, nobody can compete with us, and it's updated as frequently as the providers allow it to be.
Well, I'm curious about the data. So how do you get that data? It seems to be very detailed beyond, the typical analytics that you get out there. So
Yeah.
Where do you get that from?
Yeah, so the easiest way to talk about it is, think about every single day as a consumer, you willingly provide and you willingly leave behind a trail of information about how you live your life and how you spend your money. So think about myself. So I live up in Fort Worth, Texas. This morning, I jumped in my car, went to the gas station, swiped my card, bought a tank of gas, went to Starbucks, swiped my card, got a cold brew coffee, went on the tollway, my toll pass ticked on the toll lane, and drove down here, right? So I left behind a trail of information about the different products that I purchased, right? Retailers and businesses are aggregating this type of information. Think about when you go to the grocery store. Think about when you go to a pharmacy. Look at the receipt that you get back. Chances are that it's going to spit out a coupon for either a product you've purchased in the past or a product that you have a very high likelihood of purchasing in the future. They are building a profile of you as a customer. Right? So we source as many different redundant data sets as you can. Mobile data.
So credit card and
Yeah,
maybe
credit card.
if you have these, yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, mobile data, credit card transactions, you name it. We try to source as much data as possible. We do a ton of work within healthcare, so we actually work with about 300 hospital systems, emergency care centers, dentist offices, doc in the boxes. So when it comes to protecting the integrity and the privacy of data, especially in the healthcare space, that's something that we take very seriously, and we have the most stringent guidelines that we follow behind that. So it's something that we take very seriously, but in today's world, big data is everywhere. We take big data and we pull big answers out of it for our clients.
So, Mr. Miller, we've heard from a couple different retail consultants. What do you think Buxton brings to the table that makes y'all stand out?
So honestly, there's a couple of different things I can walk through. I think, honestly, the easiest thing that I can just say is what we do is something that you do not currently have the capability to do yourself.
Sure.
Everybody else that you've talked to, if you put the time and resources in, you can go out and purchase data from Esri. That's the provider all the other people are using. You can go purchase that data from Esri. You can run those demographic reports. You can put them together in a packet to put in front of a retailer. You can research the contacts for a retailer. You can pick up the phone and call them. They're putting a for sale sign out in front of your community, and they're calling retailers on behalf of you and 20 other communities at one time. What we do is something that you do not have the capability to do because we've spent the past 25 years helping retailers to select sites. We create the playbook for retailers. I can put that playbook in your hands. That's what's different about us.
I have a question about, I know that a lot of the retailers you work with are kind of in the big box area, and we hear so much about big boxes are pulling back, they're not building as many stores.
Sure.
And I'm curious, for one thing, are they pulling back, and is it harder to get them to build in your community? And also, I want to know your success rate data afterwards, because I know you can get them to set up, but has your data been that great that 5-10 years down the road, those businesses are still there and bustling?
Yeah, so as I'm sure you've heard from other folks, retail is definitely changing. Retail is absolutely not dying, evident by the fact that one of the, I always get asked about online sales. It's evident by the fact that the largest online company is getting into brick and mortar, right? Omni-channel retailing. I'm sure you've probably heard other people mention that, right? Retail is not dead. Retail is not dead. They're just getting smarter. They're using big data more. It's not just about who you know. It's about the data behind that. Big boxes, that is a huge investment that those businesses make in a community. Right? So they are absolutely doing their due diligence. Right? You've seen some people look to shrink sizes of square footage of the boxes. You've seen malls start to change. You've seen malls flipping inside out. You've seen a big divide in malls, very high end, more cost conscious type malls, not a whole lot of middle ground in there. Retail's changing. I get asked the question all the time. It's our business to understand and help shape how our clients are going to continue to be profitable, are going to be able to continue to open home run locations. So, absolutely, it's something that we stay very much at the forefront of. As far as numbers from, folks that stay, open 5 years from now, I honestly don't have information on that I would feel comfortable talking about.
Okay.
But I do know we've worked with many brands that you see up there on that NASCAR slide that I showed that we've been working with for quite some time and at very high level investments. So I would imagine that the product that we provide works very well if they're willing to continue working with us.
Yeah, so you also have, not only are you working with cities, trying to talk to them about how to go about this and giving them the data to use on their own also and attract these, but you have clients that are the businesses themselves. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So
okay.
And that's another question that I get asked a lot. And so we do work. So the backbone of our business is working directly with retailers. It's what we started out doing. 25 years ago, Tom didn't set out to start working in the public sector. Tom Buxton, our CEO. Like many things at Buxton, it arose out of a need, honestly. So we were working with Dave & Buster's back at the time. A community in North Texas kept reaching out to Dave & Buster's. We love your brand. Come to our community. We have X number of residents. Dave & Buster's turned around and said, we're working with a market validation firm, Buxton, and they're telling us that you guys aren't ready. So we're not coming to your community. That community turned around and they said, who the heck are these guys at Buxton that are crushing our dreams of getting a Dave & Buster's? That's where the light bulb went off for us, right? If Dave & Buster's wasn't a fit, we knew they still had a void from an entertainment standpoint. We knew they still wanted to be business friendly. Could we find a different entertainment concept for them? So that's how we started working in that. Now, the reason we're able to work on both sides of that is because of the nature of what we do. So there's a reason why in the retail side of our company, we're able to work with so many different sandwich concepts, Which, Firehouse Subs, Jersey Mike's, Jason's Deli, right? It's because we've made our name as an unbiased market validation firm. So we let the data speak for itself. The work that we do with retailers at the core is we create predictive models for a retailer that we take their data, we combine it with our data, and then we say, what are the variables that most dictate a successful location? So customer is a huge piece of that. Competition. How far should you space your locations? Do you do better when you locate close to an interstate, or do you do better when you locate close to a hospital, right? So we look at all of these factors, and we build a model in Scout our software platform that allows them to go out and score a site and get a projected revenue forecast in 90 seconds. So we don't tell retailers, hey, go look at locations in Leander, or go look at locations in Georgetown, or score sites in Denton, Texas. We create the predictive model, the tool that allows them to go out and score sites. So we don't ever tell a retailer, hey, we're working with a community, go open a location there, right? Because that's not what we do. That would violate the unbiased nature of our business. Now, there is a line that we will come up to on that. So we have many retail clients. Somebody like an Edible Arrangement, who's one of our clients. One of the first things they ask is, when they found out we were working with communities, one of the first things they ask is, hey, what communities are you working with in this general area that we can talk to? We know they're business friendly. We know they speak the same language as us. We know they have Buxton data. Provide their contact information. So we actually created a layer in Scout on all of our retail clients. It's called Cities Seeking Retail. What it does, when they turn that layer on in Scout and they click on that box, it puts a dot, a flag on every community we work with. And when they scroll over that, it provides the name and contact information of the decision maker within that community that retailer should be looking at. So we provide instant visibility to all of our retail clients. We're never going to...
Does that also give them all the data of that community, the demographics and the
honestly,
detailed information?
There's too much data to have it pop up on that little thing, but it gives them the contact information and they know to reach out to that community.
Because that community would have your data then. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's our clients that we're working with. So if we were working with you guys, there would be a flag over your name, and when those retailers go out and score sites, they would see your community, they would see the contact information, and they would say, hey, we know this community is business friendly. Let's start talking to that community.
Okay, I also have another question.
Sure.
You said that individual business owners in our city can use that information from you. So I'm wondering, and you said it was free, so then they're not signing up to contract with you. Where is the overlying contract? Is it with the city? And then anybody in the city gets to use that? I want a little detail on that.
Yeah, sure. So we obviously, typically we partner through directly with the city. We work, we've worked with economic development corporations. We've worked with chambers, whoever that entity is we're working with. One of the things that we'll do is we want to engage with the local business community. So frequently what we'll do is I'll come out and I'll hold a local business night. So I'll share the baseline information, who lives here, who works here, what businesses are on the ground, what the available opportunities are in the market, and the main idea is from awareness. We want to let those local businesses know that the city has contracted with Buxton, and we are a resource for them to gather additional information about the market. So, it's through the relationship, whether you have a strong relationship with the chamber. However that works, it differs by community. But that is a service that we feel strongly about and has been very valuable to clients that we've worked with.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, thanks. You said earlier that when retailers are coming to an area, they're looking at, I think it was 11 sites, and several sites, and that you're pretty sure that they have looked at Leander. I know that you probably haven't done a ton of analysis here, but you've probably seen this before, where there's, a city like Cedar Park right next door to a city like Leander, where Cedar Park has a ton of retail and Leander is a bit behind on that. Why do you think Leander doesn't have more of those home run sites that you referenced earlier?
Home run sites or have the same power centers that you've seen open up in Cedar Park?
Let's go with both.
Okay. Well, see, so a site would be a vacant piece of property. Really, it's at the end of the day, it's the same thing. So, I would imagine that Cedar Park has probably developed further. They're closer in on the road to Austin. So that development, maybe it was 10 years ago, maybe it was 15 years ago, where they may have been in a similar position that you guys find yourself in now.
Yes.
Right? And they may have been sitting there thinking, well, there's a HEB down the road, or there's a Target that's too close. We're never going to get those types of businesses, right? So the position you guys are in right now, absolutely. you cannot get a retailer that is 5 miles down it depends on the retailer, honestly, right? So it depends on the spacing that a retailer looks for.
Okay.
But, it's about understanding how do those businesses go about making that site selection decision, and would a Target be willing to open a location here? Would, whatever business you have in your mind be willing to open a location here? Because at the end of the day, they're not going to cannibalize the existing location that they have, but it's not like you guys don't have rooftops. It's not like you guys
Right.
don't have the growth that's coming out here. So
They've got all the key ingredients.
to me, it's about telling that compelling story.
Okay.
Right? Being able to show a retailer what you have on the ground, being able to show a retailer how business friendly you guys are, being able to show a retailer you have their customers, and getting engaged with them. Not sitting back and having hope as your strategy, where you sit back and you say, well, I hope those businesses come to our community. Right? I hope we are that one location of that 10 to 15 that they look at. Right? Most times you never even know if all those people that I mentioned. I can go down the list. We've got a quick serve chicken place. We've got a fitness concept. We've got a shoe concept. We've got a sandwich place. We've got a car repair store. We've got another fitness all of these businesses, you guys probably even never knew they were looking in your general area unless you were involved in trying to go out and tell that compelling story. So the first thing that we're going to do for you guys is get you engaged in conversations. Retail does not happen overnight. Everybody's going to tell you that. It is very much true. It's not an event. It's a process. Right? It's not easy, right? But it is a project that is very important to the continued development of your community. And honestly, go look elsewhere around Austin, and there are huge retail centers, and then just up the road there's another one. Right? My mom lives down in Lakeway, and it is crazy the amount of HEBs that are opening up on top of each other. Right? Retailers have different spacing that they look for. So we know how retailers evaluate those markets.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
I think having the analytics would be critical for us, because we know that we're growing, and we've got traffic counts and rooftops and high income and high education, like you said, the regular demographics.
Sure.
But then someone drives out here and they see a lot of green space, and it makes them pretty nervous. So having the analytics would give us the proof that a business is sustainable out here.
They spend a lot of money to open a location, right? So half the battle is just putting the idea out in front of them and having it supported by data. So you're absolutely right.
Rob, you talked about matching one of your account executives with the city, right?
Sure.
So when you do that, is it are you giving them ways to market the city based on the city's demographics, or are you giving them more, hey, we've had success with this type of retailer in this market, we feel like you should go after them, or we feel like you should be talking? You see the difference? So
I'm not sure if I understand exactly what you're asking, but
are you helping the city market itself based on your work with the city? In other words, like you tell me, Troy, I've got 15 people, right?
Yeah.
So we feel like these 15 people would be perfect for Leander, right?
Yeah. So honestly, we let the data speak for itself. I would be doing you a disservice if you guys came in and you said, Rob, we'll hire you if you can get us a Target, or whatever that retailer is. And I said, you got a deal. I'll do it. I'll get you a Target. I'm going to come in, and why communities invest with us is because we're going to bring a data-driven, unbiased analysis to the community. We are going to let the data speak for itself, right? So, we're not coming in and
Sure.
Saying, hey, we think these 15 are a fit. We're saying, look, within, in this case right now, honestly, probably within about 3 weeks, I can tell you those specific brands that we're going to be going after. Right? I'm going to create the specific information for each and every one of those brands. We're going to handle the initial outreach to those retailers. We reach out. We say, hey, we've identified XYZ location in Leander, Texas as an excellent fit for what we know of your expansion plans. You should expect to be hearing back from XYZ contact within the city. You send an email through Scout. You pick up the phone and call them. Your whole goal is to get a conference call with that retailer. You get a conference call. Our account manager will sit in on that conference call with you. You're there to speak to Leander. Nobody can sell your community better than somebody that lives and that works here. Nobody else can talk to zoning requirements. Nobody else can talk to facade requirements. Nobody else can talk to entitlements. All of those things, incentives, right? You're there to tell the unique story of Leander. We're there to speak to the data. We're there to say, this is what the data means in the eyes of a retailer. We're there to bring the credibility to your outreach. So that's the process that we go through. Like I said, we don't remove local involvement. Also, when communities stop working with us, think about if you were to work with somebody else. Let's say you worked for 2 years. They're handling all those conversations. What are you left with after those 2 years? A lot of times retailers will say, yeah, we do like your market. We think you guys are 2 years away. 2 years rolls around. That retailer, they pick up the phone. Who are they going to call? Are they going to call you? Or are they going to call the person representing you on their behalf, right? They may be working with a different city by then. With us, you're going to establish those connections with retailers. You're going to have a better idea of how retailers view your market. You're going to get the feedback instantly from retailers. You're not going to be sitting back and waiting for a month to go by where you get your status update where all you hear is retail takes time. We've called some folks. Look, I mean, our approach, it does require some skin in the game from the city, but honestly, when you think about, let's just look at the numbers, 2% sales tax revenue. Right? I know the numbers off the top of my head. Chick-fil-A is $4 million average unit volume. That's $80,000 every single year. Chick-fil-A can bring back to you, and that's a small retailer.
We are getting a Chick-fil-A, by the way.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Check.
I just use it. Everybody wants a Chick-fil-A.
Oh, believe me.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah. No, so I mean, when you think about it, when you think of the sales tax revenue, but also when you think of, for a community like you guys, when you think of the quality of life, right? When people come out to look at a market, retail's not the first thing they look at. They're looking at, where am I going to live? Where are my kids going to go to school? How far away is it from my place of employment? They're absolutely going to want to know, though, where's the grocery store? Where can I take my kids out to get, fries on a Saturday afternoon? Right? What am I going to do for dinner on a Friday night? So it absolutely plays into how desirable your community is. So, how I will kind of end things off is this is an important project for you guys. We have the proven track record to help you guys be successful doing this. We've worked with 135 communities across Texas, 900 across the United States, and we've filled 40 million square feet of retail space in the past 10 years. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Excellent job. All right, we're going to move now to item 15, discuss and consider action to rescind authorization of assignment of the Crescent Facilities Agreement for the Leander TODD MUD number 1 of Williamson County and the Crescent Leander Development and Reimbursement Agreement to Forestar USA Real Estate Group Incorporated, a Delaware corporation, approved September 6, 2018.
Mayor and Council, this item is a cleanup item. In August, I believe, the City Council approved an assignment of the Crescent Development Agreement, which is the Bryson subdivision, to the Forestar developer. That assignment was done prior to the sale closing because it would have been a condition of that sale closing. That sale did not end up going through, so we just ask as a cleanup item that be rescinded because the next item pertains to a request for assignment to a different seller or different buyer.
This is an action item.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Navarrete with a second by Councilmember Cannon. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimously. All right, we move to 16, discuss and consider action on this.
15B.
There's a B? Okay, discuss, consider action authorizing assignment of the Crescent Facilities Agreement for the Leander TODD MUD number 1 of Williamson County and the Crescent Leander Development and Reimbursement Agreement to the Johnson Development Corporation or affiliate, a Delaware corporation, authorizing the city manager to execute in all necessary documents.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, We have the same people. It's Councilmember Navarrete with the second by Councilmember Cannon. Any more discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, now we move to 16. Discuss and consider action on the second reading of an ordinance, approving Ordinance Case 18-OR-002 to amend the Composite Zoning Ordinance to modify the definition of family and household, to modify provisions governing group homes, to establish a process for requesting a reasonable accommodation on the basis of a disability, and to provide for related matters. Williamson and Travis Counties, Texas. Ms. Griffin? No?
I'm here on this item as the second reading because I understand that there was a question about that prevented final adoption of this ordinance.
You might have to remind us what that question
The question was
Okay.
mandating that this ordinance be
Adopted by HOAs.
Right,
So
right, or
requiring
that the
HOAs to
city
adopt this.
regulate the family size that can be set by HOA in their restrictive covenants.
Right.
And the answer to that question is that that's outside of what a city would typically regulate. The city would not typically dictate to an HOA that type of regulation in its restrictive covenants. And there's a few reasons for it. To the extent that there are federal laws that would govern, that would make that illegal for various reasons based on discrimination of a protected class or discrimination based on a disability, the federal law and state law would allow someone to correct that. And so these types of issues are regulated, and people that would be harmed by that have other means of enforcing that. It would, in some ways, transfer enforcement of those laws from individuals who are impacted to them by the city. And those laws that are in place to protect individuals, they also have in them, they have means for those individuals to recover their attorney's fees so that incentivizes attorneys to take those cases. So that's out there. There's also potentially a preemption issue where the city wouldn't be able to enact that type of regulation since it's covered by federal law as well. And then there's different, as a governmental entity, there's different rules that govern cities and what you can do because you're subject to the Constitution versus what a private entity can do like an HOA. So there may be just some different legal standards that would apply to them.
So it
just
sounds
to
like it's
clarify.
covered.
So my recommendation would be that we wouldn't do that.
I think we've had that come up
That we would
before, and we just
approve
do
it
not
as
get into
is.
those
Approve
HOAs.
as is without the addition of it being extended to HOAs.
Okay, so HOAs are protected.
Individuals who could be impacted by rules that HOAs adopt, there are laws out there that protect them, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
This is an action item.
I'll
So-
motion to approve as it was.
And I'll second.
So we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Shepherd with a second by Pro Tem Stevenson. All in favor? Passes unanimously. All right, 17, discuss and consider action on the primary award of solicitation number S19-008 for right-of-way mowing and landscape maintenance services to Corsicana Geranium Garden in the amount of $237,673.75. And approval of secondary award to Unity Contractor Services Incorporated in the amount of $241,368.79. And authorizing the city manager to execute any and all necessary contract documents and authorize contract renewals. Mr. Lombard.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is for you that you're considering tonight is the award of a mowing and landscape maintenance contract. Back in October, the invitations to bid were publicly advertised in the Hill Country News. We did receive 8 bids. The bid opening was on Tuesday, November 13th. Of those eight bids, one was withdrawn by the bidder. The one that was withdrawn was from TPSG, or the Professional Service Guys, and one was returned unopened to the contractor because it was not a sealed bid. That was North by Northwest bid.
excuse me, Corsicana Geranium Garden provided the lowest qualified bid. The amount was $237,673.75. This bid amount allows the city to contract for the entire bid schedule and the alternate bid item and remain within budget. Staff recommends Corsicana Geranium Garden as the primary contractor for this award. Also, we're asking you to consider a secondary qualified bidder, Unity Contractor Services, and the amount of their bid was $241,368.79. This did not include, the request we have before you tonight does not include the alternate bid item of additional edging on ribbon curbs, primarily along Baghdad, Crystal Falls, and Journey Parkway. That's just for the base schedule only for the secondary award to Unity. Both contractors have acceptable references, staffing levels, and adequate equipment fleets. We verified those. We're asking for a 3-year contract or agreement plus 2 optional 1-year renewals. That's the request for the contract period. Again, we are requesting the primary award to Corsicana Geranium Garden and the secondary award to Unity Contractor Services in the amounts that I just previously mentioned. I'd be happy to answer any questions about this contract.
I do have a question. So when would we require that backup contractor to work?
I forgot to mention that only if the primary is unable to perform their meet the schedule and perform as expected.
Would it be if we had like a heavy rain period followed by intense growth of?
It could be, yeah. It's pretty easy to execute this contract in January through April or something. But then in the past, we've had contractors. The last time we had a contractor that did not perform, I think it was addressed in August.
Did the bid process include provision for backup? In other words, would the bidders have signed up, been on board with doing a backup position?
Well, we would only execute one contract, the primary at this point. But then if there was an issue with performance, we would contact Unity.
So just be as needed?
Yes, we would not necessarily bring it. This would allow us not to have to come back to council and go through a formal bid process. It would be an expedited way to get someone back on board to catch up on the mowing.
I'll motion to approve.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Like, as we grow as a city, like, you take in new land that you got to take care of, right? So, any idea how much that's averaging a year? Is it we're growing by 15% land-wise that we have to maintain 20? I mean, any idea?
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I know there are about 166 properties. The first time we did this property inventory and put the schedule together, it was probably 100 or something. It's and the properties do change significantly too. If you look at Hero Way West, it was a 2-lane rural road that was mostly just rougher mowing, but now it's got sidewalk, curb and gutter. It's more of a finish mow type. So we have to look at that and change the frequencies and how it's mowed and to what standard it's mowed. So numbers, acreage has changed. Some go up, some go down. Another example is we actually transferred some of the landscape maintenance to the Parks Department on Crystal Falls because it's more of a landscape maintenance than a mowing operation, the medians.
If I were you, I'd let them do it all.
And so
they got a good chunk of it.
Let's just put turf down everywhere. You know?
So in regards to all the new street trees, obviously that takes a lot more hand care than the big old mowers I see out there. So are you saying that goes to Parks and Rec?
On Crystal Falls, yes.
On Crystal,
now the property owners would be taking care of the trees on the individual properties, just like homeowners would.
I second.
Is there any more discussion? All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Navarrete with a second by Pro Tem Stevenson. All in favor? Passes unanimously.
I'm sorry, one thing I would like to add is authorization for the city manager to execute these
well then
any and all necessary contract documents.
Absolutely.
and the contract renewals.
Yes, sir.
Sorry about that.
Thank you. Everybody okay with the
Yes.
additional?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we move to number 18, discuss and consider action on an award of construction contract for Crystal Falls Ground Storage Tank Number 2 project in the amount of $1,920,350 and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all necessary documents. Mr. Watts.
Thank you. Bids were received and opened on Thursday, November the 15th, 2018 for the Crystal Falls Storage Tank Project Number 2. That project consists of a new 1 million gallon storage tank, the demolition of the County Glen ground storage tank, additional generator capacity, modifications to the Baghdad Road booster station, flow metering, SCADA, electrical improvements, and appurtenances for the Crystal Falls booster station site. 4 bid proposals were received. The low bidder on both alternates, and there were 2 alternates, one for concrete tank, one for steel tank. The low bidder for both of those was Cunningham Constructors and Associates Incorporated. They are capable and competent in doing this type of work, and reference checks have been positive. You might note that staff is recommending, along with the engineer of record and along with our Public Works Department, that we select the concrete ground storage tank, even though it is more expensive because of the long-term expense is less, because we never have to recoat the concrete tank. We always have to recoat steel tanks. Steel tanks have to be cathodically protected. Steel tanks have more problems, more potential failures, and more potential long-term cost. Staff recommends that we award the construction contract for alternative A1, which is the concrete ground storage tank. And by the way, that, I don't know if I mentioned or not, is a 1 million gallon ground storage tank, which is the same volume as our existing steel tank at the Crystal Falls tank site. We recommend that it be awarded to Cunningham Constructors and Associates in the amount of $1,920,350. A
motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have
Sorry.
a motion to approve by Councilmember Shepherd with second by Pro Tem Stevenson. All in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think if the mayor gets to do this, like some cool laser up there, that shines everywhere, that'd be kind of cool.
Oh,
You can
make
take
it
care of
be a
that for
change
us,
order.
right? All right, number 19, discuss and consider action on BCRUA's award of construction contract for Phase 1C Water Treatment Plant Expansion Project to Excel Construction Services, LLC, in the amount of $9,100,270, authorizing the city manager to execute any and all necessary documents. Mr. Watts.
Thank you, Mayor. This is first thing I want to note is, we have the figure 9.1 million and change here. I want to point out that the city of Leander is not responsible for that entire cost. We're responsible for our share of that is 46.7% or $4.249 million. $826 and just for the mayor, 9 cents. We received 4 competitive seal proposals as opposed to competitive seal bids, and that is a process that we are seeing more and more of. I have yet to use that in our public works bidding process. I still like competitive seal bids, but competitive seal proposals do have their advantages. And this is certainly one case that where they do. In this particular case, Excel Construction, which is a local company, was the low bidder for the water treatment plant work. And that comes in that statement will have more effect or more on the next bid item as we talk about competitive seal proposals. What a competitive seal proposal means is that you have the ability to negotiate, and you don't necessarily aren't bound to take the lowest responsible bidder. We always have the ability, and at various times in the past, this council has approved staff recommendations not to go with a low bidder in a competitive seal bid process. We have a similar situation here, but it's not quite the same. In those situations, the low bidder wasn't qualified to do the work or had bad references or some other
problem. In this particular situation, Excel is also the low bidder. We recommend that the contract be awarded to Excel. I might note that there were some alternates in the bid proposal that we are not included in our recommendation, and we're going to recommend that the city approve BCRUA's award of the construction contract for Phase 1C Water Treatment Plant Expansion Project to Excel Construction Services LLC in the amount of $9,100,270 even. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
I liked $1 million better.
Mr. Watts, is this paid for out of the utility fund, or is this?
This is paid for out of the Leander Series Phase 1C Texas Water Development Board SWIFT loan, which are bonds.
Okay.
But the answer is yes, because it's paid. Those bonds are paid back out of rates.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Birthday Guy Seiler, with a second by Pro Tem Stevenson. All in favor? All right, passes unanimously. Number 20, discuss and consider action on BCRUA's award of construction contract for Phase 1C Raw Water Barge Expansion Project to Excel Construction Services in the amount of $4,531,300 and authorizing the city manager to execute any and all necessary documents. Mr. Watts.
Thank you. Here again, in this project, we are 46.7% of that $4.5 million in change. Our cost responsibility is $2,116,117.10. This, again, was a competitive seal proposal. We received two proposals, one from Archer Western, who also bid the water treatment plant and is a very experienced water treatment plant contractor all across this nation. And also, Excel was the Excel Construction. Our local Leander company was also involved in that process, one of the two parties that submitted the competitive seal proposals. Now, in this particular case, the engineers for the project, the BCRUA staff, the BCRUA Operations Committee scored the two proposals under the conditions presented by state statute and noted in the request for the proposals. And in that, we scored Excel slightly higher than Archer Western, and I'm going to recommend that Excel perform the work. The reason for that is that Excel constructed the very BCRUA raw water barge that they will be modifying in this project. Excel also constructed our raw water contingency project, which some of you may remember, but thank goodness got put on the shelf after we spent a good deal of money. They constructed every aspect of that project, and they are more familiar with the area, with the people in the area, with the various and sundry issues that are associated with working in the Sandy Creek Arm of Lake Travis than Archer Western. And so we are recommending that we award that contract to Excel Construction, or that we approve BCRUA's award of the construction contract for the Phase 1C Raw Water Barge Expansion Project, Excel Construction Services, LLC, in the amount of $4,531,300. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have about the selection.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Councilmember Navarrete with a second by Councilmember Shepherd. Is there any more discussion?
I would just like to say I'm really glad that Excel is they've always been hand in hand with us, and it's really good to have them on board. Nobody knows it better than they do.
We are confident they're going to do a good job, and we like the fact that we'll have the same contractor involved in a related project, and we will avoid any contractor conflicts with that. Plus, we're taking advantage of Excel's expertise and experience in the work that they've done previously.
Where are they based?
Here, they're on Leander
They're
Drive.
in Leander.
Yes, sir.
Bonus.
Awesome.
Even better.
All right, all in favor? All right, passes
Thank you.
unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Watts. All right, number 21, discuss and consider action on scheduling 2 workshops with the Planning and Zoning Commission relating to the annual joint meeting in the Riparian Corridor. Did we have some?
So P&Z on a P&Z night, if council wants to do it on a P&Z night, or if you want to do it on a council night, P&Z's available for
5 p.m. start. I don't know if anybody has a preference, but if we did it on a P&Z night, we could do it January 24th at 6 p.m. start. Or if we wanted to have them on one of ours, we would do it in a workshop, either the 3rd or the 17th at a 5 p.m. start
In January?
in January.
I think we should have it on our night. It'll get done quicker.
I had somebody ask for the 3rd, so can we make it the 17th?
What? Oh, you mean another workshop on the 3rd? Is that
Oh.
what you're saying?
I had somebody on the 3rd. I wonder if I could just schedule them during the regular part of the council meeting and then keep this for a workshop.
I mean, that's.
Okay. Why don't I do that then? Okay, so the 3rd and 17th.
So do you need a motion? I'll make a motion that we have it on January 3rd. Is that what you're
And
looking for?
17th, it's 2 nights.
Oh, I was just thinking about something.
Oh, we need it 2 nights?
It's still vacation time for kids. That's that first meeting in January. I'm wondering how many P&Z members might be out with the Christmas holiday.
Do we need 2 nights if we were going to do theirs on one night?
Yeah, the issue about having 2 nights is there's two topics. One is the riparian corridor, and one is the annual P&Z workshop. If you think you can get it all done in one,
No way. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're
Okay.
right. So
Yeah.
I'll amend that to be the 3rd and the 17th
Yeah.
as a workshop prior to city council meetings.
Yes, I'll second that.
Well, we
Is that
just
correct?
talked about the 3rd being kids
Yeah,
are still
maybe
out.
we'll have
But if
one.
we did the 17th and 24th.
Yeah,
Can we
and
do
have one
17th and
on
24th?
one on our night, one
Well,
on their
or
night.
we
That'd be
could-
fair.
Or we
Mayor.
can approve the 3rd and 17th, and then if P&Z has a conflict, then we
Mayor.
change it.
Ms. Griffin did speak with P&Z. Those are good dates for them.
Okay, great.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, I think
The
the
3rd
issue,
and
though,
17th.
about the 3rd was about kids being out.
She checked all that.
Yeah.
She checked them? Okay.
Okay, so
Planning
is
and
everybody
zoning
here
said
okay
it
with
was
that? Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Okay, so the 3rd and 17th then?
Yep.
do you have a preference for which topic you want on the 3rd or 17th? Which one do you want to go with first?
Let's do riparian on the 3rd. Get the little small thing.
That small thing.
That's small.
I think that makes sense. Riparian
One
on the
item.
3rd and
Great.
a regular.
And let's
night.
see if they want to come back on the 17th. All right, so we have a motion for the 3rd and 17th with the topic on the 3rd of the riparian. All in favor? Passes unanimously. Okay, so let's see. Number 22, discuss and consider action on the appointment to fill an unexpired term to the Public Art Commission expiring October 2019. Councilmember Shepard.
Since we just did board and commission interviews, I feel like, I mean, we were going to just replace people once a year, but since we just did it, I think it's kind of fresh. We just had a resignation, so I thought it would be reasonable to request to go ahead and fill it now. It looks like Mr. Stricker has expressed interest in being appointed, so I would make a motion that we appoint him.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve Mr. Stricker by Councilmember Shepard with a second by Councilmember Seiler. Is there any more discussion? All in favor? Passes unanimously. All right, at this time, the time is now 8:50. We're going to convene into executive session pursuant to Section 551.087 Texas Local Government Code to discuss or deliberate proposed economic development incentives for a business prospect that the governmental body seeks to have locate, stay, or expand in or near the territory of the governmental body and with which the governmental body is conducting economic development negotiations. Thank you.
Oh, it's a slam dunk.
All right, the time is 9:08, and we are reconvening. We've moved to take any action as deemed appropriate in the City Council's discretion regarding the executive session. Mayor Pro Tem Stevenson.
I make a motion to approve the Old Town Incentive Grant of up to $13,000 to the Leander Beer Market to facilitate expansion of the business and to authorize the city manager to sign a 380 agreement in the form approved by the city attorney. The grant funding is contingent upon the Leander Beer Market
providing invoice documentation of expenditures dedicated to the expansion of up to $13,000 reimbursement through the grant, the business becoming a recognized vendor to the city, and a certificate of occupancy for the expanded business.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Pro Tem Stevenson with a second by Councilmember Shepherd. All in favor? Passes unanimously. All right, 9:10, and we're to closing statements. Amen.
Oh, I know Mr. Thomas is gone, but I just want to thank city staff for all that you did to put together just an amazing Christmas parade and tree lighting ceremony. It was just beautiful. We have that gorgeous tree. Just the sense of community that night was almost overwhelming. Just kudos to everyone for all the hard work that's always done for that event. It's truly my favorite. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to put a plug in for Breakfast with Santa. If you are a veteran or you know any veterans, you can come with your family and little kids, because little kids will have an activity center there. The meal is free for veterans and their family. It's at the YMC McGee Family Lodge, 2300 South Bell Boulevard in Cedar Park. It's behind the YMCA. There'll probably be balloons and signs pointing you way back, but let your veteran friends and neighbors know. Also, I want to put in a plug also for the Blue Santa. We are, my husband was at his meeting last night with the Citizens Police, and he said they had 300 bikes last year, and right now they only have 100. So they're looking for more donations, monetary, toys, or bikes would be great. Before December 12th, am I right on that one? Before December 12th. Thank you.
Okay, well, I was going to say that too. Blue Santa, go buy bikes.
Oh, is it me?
I just wanted to take 1 second to mention the loss of a Cedar Park boy on Monday on Brushy Creek, went to Vista Ridge High School, and the way that our community came together almost instantly. It happened at 5:45 in the morning. By 8:30, all 4 high schools had counselors involved, and sending counselors over to Vista Ridge. And then the high schools allowed some of the kids to go straight over to the church. The entire week, how LISD, who we often compete with these schools and have some healthy competition, it was really beautiful to see everyone come together. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for that.
Thank you all for the birthday song. That's weird.
I couldn't get to the sombrero.
Yeah. But I really appreciate the well wishes and. No.
Good.
Yes.
That's good.
I'm sure this is
You've
there.
always wanted to celebrate your birthday, too.
Yes, that was my dream. Who's doing the polar plunge with me this year?
Mayor.
Come on.
If you hit the target, but it's going to be this small.
I hear crickets.
Yeah. Okay. I am always talking about how I love to preserve the small town feel here in Leander as we get enormous. And I think the best time of year for that definitely is the holidays. And our holiday parade this year, even though it was enormous and it seemed like half the town turned out at least, we still had that awesome small town feel with youth groups and families, and it was amazing. And so huge thank you to the Parks Department, Chamber of Commerce, all the city staff, and the volunteers that made that happen. There's still a whole lot happening this month. There's activities through the Parks Department and through the library. Like Pro Tem Stevenson said, we've got Blue Santa going for another couple weeks. The Parks Department is also collecting Christmas cards for military that's going to get sent off to them. You have until December 16th for that. And finally, as a public health service announcement, it is cold and flu season. Please wash your hands, don't touch your face, take your vitamins, and wipe down the carts at HEB, because this is miserable. So y'all stay healthy for the holidays.
Right. And as I want to thank Pro Tem Stevenson for what you did taking over while I was fanning about in Europe. So I'm glad to be back in the U.S. of A. And I want to thank Ms. Griffin for doing such a great job. And I know you've stepped in at a tough time. We're busier than ever, and we appreciate your hard work. Thank you. And I'll ask for an adjournment.
So be it.
Thank you.